Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you on this Monday afternoon, and we've got plenty of things to talk about. A busy, busy weekend in the world of sports. We had a major, we had some baseball as they got back going into the weekend. A little bit of everything over the weekend, Brett, so we've got to talk about it over the next 3 hours. AAC Media Days have kind of started. The format's very weird, Brett, kind of making it more of a Media Days and Fan Fest type deal. So today's more of the Fan Fest portion of it. Tomorrow, we actually hear from the coaches. ACC Media Days start today. Big Ten starts tomorrow. So a lot going on in the world of sports. But how are you? How was your weekend?
It was great. Glad to get back home, and glad all of us here together. Big D's here
Darian
with us.
Newsom with us.
Great
That's
to
right.
have Darian back, and been thinking a lot about him, and glad to be here with you, Bryant. And you're right. And at ACC Media Days, they're not really putting it this way, but so much, we just expected FSU and Clemson, for sure FSU, to announce in August they're gone. Not so fast.
That's right.
May not be anywhere to go.
Well, and that's, it was like when all of this started, it was like, oh man, Florida State and Clemson, but more like you said, Florida State, that would be massive.
To be number 19 in the Big Ten.
That's right. And then as time kind of kept on going, kind of started looking like, okay, maybe this conference doesn't want to, maybe this conference doesn't really want to.
I think we got out of Sankey the SEC's
we did. Yeah.
pretty set for a little while.
That's what it felt like, at least. And it really might feel like, and what an awkward position to be in if you're Florida State or Clemson.
And huge legal fees.
Absolutely.
I think that's in the whole kettle of fish.
Yeah.
But if you're going to bowl, you better have a landing spot.
Yeah, it feels like you would definitely want to have that in place, or at least an idea of it before you start doing anything like Florida State has been doing over these last couple of months. But here we are, and it doesn't feel like they really got everything lined up before they kind of started doing things.
It's like quitting a job.
Yeah.
You better have the next one lined up.
Yeah, no, you don't want to be sitting there kind of in the middle waiting.
It's like asking to get married.
That's
you
right.
You better know the answer's yes.
Yes, you better have a good feeling about it before you do anything drastic like that. And we're seeing Florida State.
If she clears her throat, it's a no.
Oh yeah. So you don't want to. You don't want
let me
like
think about it. That's a no.
Yeah. Well, no.
Not really good timing. That's a no.
No. That's the worst.
You need to remember that.
Yeah. No. I definitely need to keep that in mind. I feel pretty confident about
I think so too.
About my situation though. I'm not too worried about it.
But Brian, as we know, nothing's 1,000.
That's right. No, nothing.
United States
100%.
minus 43 over South Sudan. No, not South Florida, South Sudan.
No. Yes. Wild stuff for Team USA over the weekend, playing again today against Germany.
And my standard
kind
answer,
of struggling again against Germany.
I take anybody plus 43.
Well, yeah, I mean it's more it's more off of principle. I mean, if it's that much, I mean, I would hope I could cover.
I had Lehigh
points.
1 year in the NCAA tournament against Georgetown, and that was Georgetown. Big John Thompson, Patrick Ewing. They might even been defending champions. Maybe in the year they won. Anyway, they were 36 in an opening round game, and I took Lehigh, the Engineers. It was a dogfight to the end. Got there.
Okay.
But it took Georgetown holding the ball the last 2 minutes.
Well, sometimes you need that.
But that was not the case with the United States.
No.
South Florida, South Sudan.
Quite the opposite. Needed a LeBron James last-second bucket to even get the win. And now we're talking about there was one player on the South Sudan team that had a triple-double, and now the NBA has come out and said there's a window open until, I think, Friday where he is, before his contract, wherever he's playing overseas, starts, that NBA teams can sign him if they want.
Just like signing Shohei?
That's right, yeah. So
I didn't know that was in the CBA that you could do that.
Well, I think it's.
I thought everybody had to go through the draft.
Right. Yeah, and so I don't know if it's a special thing or if it's something with his professional contract.
Let me guess who I bet he signs with.
Who's that?
Knicks, Lakers, Clippers.
Sure, something like that. Well, heck, I mean, he played in front of guys that play for all those teams, so I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But
I bet you Portland doesn't really have a shot at him.
No.
Or Memphis.
No. I doubt the.
That's stunning to me.
Yeah.
I would have bet everything. Everybody goes through the draft.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw that.
Who knew the NBA had a Rule 5 draft?
How about that? Yeah. It was like
actual baseball people cannot explain to you the Rule 5 draft.
No. Even when I feel like I can understand, I'm like, I still don't understand it. It's incredible. But no, I think after, because it was really weird. Team USA plays.
I'm blown away.
Yeah, well, I think I need to look. The more we talk about it, the more I'm like, I hope I'm right, and I think I am, because I think it was like Steinlein or something like that was like, yeah, there's an opening where he can sign with somebody because of his contract and because of the NBA and everything. And so, here it goes. League sources tell the Steinlein there is a brief window until Thursday for NBA teams to pursue South Sudan's Carlick Jones before his new Partizan Belgrade deal takes full effect.
That is incredible.
So
I would have thought you that's not accurate.
Yeah, well,
because baseball and even the NFL has supplemental.
Oh, absolutely.
And it gets goofy.
Oh, absolutely. So not the case with NBA, I guess.
Stunning.
So that was interesting over the weekend. But it is weird how these exhibitions have played out, because the first game against Canada.
Do you know of a case of anybody that's done that kind of off the books?
Not off the top of my head. I don't.
I don't either. If somebody could help us, we'll take it.
No, absolutely. I'll take any help I can get with anything. But definitely this. But yeah, I mean, Brett, how do you feel after? I know they're playing Germany right now, but it just feels weird because after the game against Canada,
I'm not going to freak out.
It was, this is great. The team looks way better than we thought it was, and then the South Sudan.
That great.
I didn't either, but I heard a lot of.
With that.
I heard a lot of that on social media.
But I had respect for Canada, and the personnel.
Oh yeah, I mean we were talking that day.
No disrespect for South Sudan, the country, but I didn't respect its personnel.
No.
Not wild about Germany's.
No, not at all. And I don't even know what the score is. I haven't been keeping close attention.
Up 8 or 9 at half.
Okay. I think it was like when I glanced at it, it was like 4 or 5, so I didn't know.
16-point favorite fell to 14.5 at tip. What would that tell you?
This game did?
Uh-huh.
Oh wow! So money coming in on Germany. Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
I have no big screaming takeaways until they're not on that gold medal stand.
Yeah.
And then I've got a couple comments I'm gonna make today, because after that 4th place finish last summer in the Philippines,
that's right.
You know what I said about Steve Kerr then?
Yeah.
I didn't think he had the voice that NBA group's listening to, and as kind of counterintuitive as this is, I thought they did for Mount Krzyzewski, and they don't for him, because he knows and they know this really doesn't matter.
Right.
What really matters is October to June.
Sure.
This is exhibition.
Right.
And we probably should drop a house on everybody. So why do I need to yell at anybody?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not saying that Krzyzewski was yelling and screaming. He was not. But because of his gravitas, I'm not saying that Steve Kerr doesn't have gravitas in the game. He does. Multi-champion coach.
Of course.
Multi-champion player on a couple of different teams. He does. But I just don't know that this suits him. And I said after the Philippines, that was a wretched performance last summer, that he's not the guy for Paris, that I thought they needed to make change. There's no way they were going to change him just for the humiliation factor. I mean, he would have to have had serious health, and he has back issues to bow out gracefully. But I thought wrong for sending him over there, especially after that Philippines performance, and that was bad.
Yeah, no, that was bad. That was
that was against the B team.
It was. No, you're absolutely right.
This is the creme de la creme A team.
That's right. Yes. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to have.
What's the biggest star not on the team that should be, that could be? Did anybody really opt out?
No, nobody. I mean, other than Kawhi saying he couldn't play because of trying to get back right for the NBA.
So it wasn't anybody just passed on it. I've done it. I've had enough of it. Let me pass.
Not that I know of.
This is dream team.
Yeah, because I mean, when you think of best players, I mean, LeBron James playing, Steph Curry's playing, Kevin Durant's playing, Jason Tatum's playing, Joel Embiid's playing, Anthony Davis is playing. I mean, the top of the sport, even the young, Edwards gets the invite.
Brian, if you remember, I went through the roster of the team that knocked the United States out of medaling last year.
I remember that. I couldn't tell you a name, but
biggest bunch of nobodies ever. Was it Italy?
I don't remember.
I don't even. Biggest bunch of nobodies ever. And then I went through the payroll for Team USA in the Philippines. That payroll would be the equivalent to this one's what I have in my coin front pocket.
Yeah.
In loose change. I mean, this is average man making.
That's right.
25, 20. I mean, Walker Kessler drew it down a little last summer, right?
Yeah.
'Cause I went through that.
You did.
What everybody made.
I'm trying to find the games. This website is the worst website I've ever seen.
FIBA's, it sure is.
It's bad.
It's real bad. If they're not on that gold medal stand, screaming hot take should be had.
I'm curious now and this is poor because this is a poor example, not even really example, but this is kind of a poor exercise because I don't know what the odds were before that game against South Sudan. I'm curious if their odds have fallen any to win the whole thing.
I had to take a little hit.
You definitely think so. I just don't know. So they're minus 500. They were definitely more than 500.
I don't know. I wouldn't know.
To win it. Canada right behind
suspect
them.
it.
Oh, yeah.
What is Canada?
They're plus 1,100. They're the second best favorites to win it.
And that's who beat us in the third place game last year.
Yeah, that was
Dylan Brooks.
But there was somebody else that put them.
Somebody else. And I went through, and it was just nobody's.
I wish I could find that. But like I said,
night in, night out for what we pay to go to NBA for that kind of collection to beat you. It was the point I made last August.
But I'll be honest, I've never been on the FIBA website before, and I never want to be back. This is awful.
And you get just bombarded with ads.
Yeah, no, this is bad. This is really bad. Shout out to them, I guess, but it's awful.
Yeah. I'm sorry for sending you there.
It's okay.
What a terrible way to start the week.
It really is.
FIBA website. I'm sorry.
France has the third best odds to win the hoist the gold.
And their time's coming in Los Angeles in 4 years.
No, it feels like odds are going to be much better 4 years from now for France than it is today. But I don't know. I mean,
United States doesn't win gold in 2024, and then doesn't win gold in Los Angeles at home in 2028. Then we got to start talking about redoing USA basketball again, like we did after Argentina in 2004.
Yeah, no, that'd be really bad.
After Manu and Argentina.
That's right. That'd be really bad.
Beat us.
I still feel confident.
I do too.
But
a little shaken.
Sure. I mean, that game against South Sudan didn't make you feel good.
Again, not South Florida.
No,
South Sudan.
Yes. And
not South Florida at home.
That's right. Or South Florida.
Can you say South Florida without saying at home?
No, I don't think so. Or South Florida on their winning streak after what they did last year on the hardwood. I guess we'll see what they do against Germany, and then we're there. I mean, Brett, opening ceremonies on Friday, first actual events on Wednesday. We've got soccer or football, as they call it over there, Brett, and rugby.
We're playing before we light.
That's right.
Cauldron.
Because there's so many events and stuff like that.
You can play before the dove are actually released?
That's right, yes. You actually can.
Feels like that's an omen of something bad.
Yeah, it seems like sacrilegious almost.
Friday at 5, one of my favorite every 4-year exercises. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Darian, are you ready?
Go for it.
We'll go through every sport.
Okay.
Have we ever participated?
I love that. I can't wait.
Like walking.
I've walked before. I walked last night. How about that?
Touche.
I walked down the hall.
Bingo,
20 minutes ago.
That's right, yeah. That counts.
Walking counts.
Sure. I love that.
You played pickleball?
I've never played
pickleball Olympic sport?
Oh, no, not Olympics. I thought you said sports in general.
No,
Olympic
sports. Breakdancing.
Never.
3-on-3 basketball. I played 3-on-3 basketball.
3-on-3 Olympic sport?
Yeah. At least for the win.
And you know who the star is? Jimmer Fredette. Yeah.
The Jimmer.
Y'all are messing with me.
No, I promise you.
No, 3-on-3 is.
Yeah.
With the news of off the books players consignment.
That's right.
I actually thought that's where Caitlin Clark should have been on.
Hit the open and let's just start all over.
No.
I don't think this is. Y'all are messing.
14 minutes into the show. I mean. Yes, 3-on-3 basketball with Jimmer Fredette.
Well, I played 3-on-3.
3-on-3.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be honest.
But I played basketball. I mean, I played. 5-on-5.
Yeah. You mentioned
ball never went through the net.
Well,
never enters in the scorebook ever. At any level, church league, junior high, any level, ball never went through.
That's not great.
The net, no.
You know, it's okay though. We're there for you.
Very few buckets just playing with buddies 3-on-3 in the backyard. I was kind of the screen setter defensive.
Hey, everybody needs that on their team.
Role play glue guy.
You know, everybody needs one.
I was the glue guy.
That's right. Everybody needs a glue guy. You mentioned breakdancing or breaking, as the cool kids call it, for the Olympics.
They just call it break.
I read a story about it like 2 days ago, and they were like, it's breakdance, but they just call it breaking. When I was in,
have you ever broken?
Well, here's the thing, and this I don't know if this counts or not. When I was in middle school,
I'm going to say I have, but I didn't mean to be breaking.
Right. When I was in middle school, one of my buddies at the time, his little sister, who was like 2 years younger than us, maybe, she took dance classes, and so she was like, "I want you to come to one of my classes," and he was like, "I'm not doing that," and she was like, "Well, they have like really cool ones, like they have like break dancing and like hip hop dance and stuff like that." And my buddy was like, "I'm not doing it," and his mom was like, "Look, I'll like pay you $20 to just go and make her happy." He was like, "Okay, but my buddies have to come." And so he like talked us into it, and we were like, I don't know. He was like, "Just do it." So we do it. We got there. It was a breakdancing class, and we participated in it.
Heck,
it was only one class. I don't know if that counts.
It counts.
Okay, all right.
And you lost your amateur status taking cash.
That's right. Yeah, I sure did. Well, I didn't take any cash. He took the cash.
You were a party to it.
I sure was. Yes. So I guess the first illegal thing I've done. How about that?
For platform diving, will this count on Friday? I want y'all to think about this. Will it count off the high dive, just doing like cannonball?
Yeah. You're up there. Why not?
Well, does that count?
The score would be putrid.
Sure. I mean, you'd still get a score though. So
I'd play it for a score.
Yeah, I say yes. I don't see why not.
We'll do that Friday. And we'll also do this.
Okay.
And we will save them. This will be laughable.
Oh yeah.
What will the 2028 men's Olympic basketball team roster
I was
be
thinking about that when you guys
Los
were going
Angeles?
through. There's a guy in the Grizzly uniform that I'm excited about.
Sure.
I will have him. I will tell you now, I will have the flag bearer for Friday night on the 2028
I thought
team
about that.
as a ceremonial player in Los Angeles, whether he's retired or not.
Oh.
LeBron James.
I like that.
And I'm glad he's the standard bearer.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll
the all-time leading scorer in the history of the NBA hadn't earned it.
Sure.
You are correct.
I don't know if I'll have a flag bearer on my team, but I will have somebody that has yet to put on a collegiate jersey and has the last name Flag on my team.
Very good.
I'll have Cooper Flag on my team. Maybe I should save that till Friday, but I'll have
That's
him
Friday
on
at 5.
I wanted.
I'm ready for the Olympics.
Here's this, Darian. I wanted them to replace Kawhi Leonard with Cooper Flag.
I would have taken that over Derek White.
I mean,
definitely.
Because he's going to sit the bench. And how many minutes is Derek White going to play in the Olympics? If we're being honest?
My beef was with Jaylen Brown.
Sure.
You know, how much more can you do to be left off?
Yeah. No, I'm with
are
you
you following any Olympic sites? NBC Olympics, great site at NBC Olympics.
Yeah, I need to follow that. I have the app. I usually use the app for my Olympic needs, but I'm excited for Wednesday. So we'll see. I'll probably bet on some of the soccer
I just have an uneasy feeling, though, about getting action started before the Dove release.
Yeah, that does seem now that we talk about it, it does
really
seem
kind of bothers me.
Does seem kind of strange. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, we'll talk some NBA and talk some Grizzlies championship day. I mean, we really buried the lead 18 minutes into the show. Grizzlies are going for a championship tonight in the Las Vegas Summer League, and then also we'll talk more about Team USA and their scare, only up 2 right now on Germany in their final exhibition. We'll talk about this game and then also the scare over the weekend against South Sudan. 3:45, we'll talk the British Open. Xander Schauffele, he gets another major, a really incredible year for him. We'll talk about everything we saw over the weekend and Xander's win. 4 o'clock, David Cobb from CBS Sports will join us, talk some college football and college basketball. 4:30, we'll talk some baseball. baseball. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Jonah Dillon, the Tiger football beat writer from the Commercial Appeal. He'll join us. Plenty to talk about with him as AAC Media Days have started. We'll hear from the coaches tomorrow.
And the walls came crumbling down today.
Yes, demolition.
Progress Day. Great
Absolutely.
day.
It was really cool to see. They had the live stream up so you could watch the whole thing. And so really cool. A big day for the city and for the University of Memphis. So we'll talk to Jonah at 5 o'clock about everything going on with Tiger football. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending. At 5:45, wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Summer is here and it's time to party, and Family Leisure has great deals like 24-foot above-ground pool for $19.99. All ladders, filter systems, and robotic cleaners, 20% off. Select in-stock patio furniture up to 50% off. Play gyms up to $1,000 off, and patio umbrellas 20% off. Also, 4-person hot tubs only $29.99. And don't forget about the discounted pricing on all in-stock pool toys and floats while supplies last. So head over to Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
Produced by Darian Newsom, we are Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you until 6 o'clock. And we want you to be a big part of our show by texting or calling at the Sissy's Log Cabin Talk and text line 901-360-8255. All our guests will appear on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. This hour brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2024 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673. But better yet, stop by the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2024 flagship LS500. You'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story has got to be Xander Schauffele and his win over the weekend. Yesterday morning, around noon, maybe a little bit after noon, Xander Schauffele sank the putt on 18 that led to his second major win of the season. Really incredible because just a couple months ago, we were talking about Xander and asking the question of, is he the best golfer without a major? And then he goes out there and wins major, and we said, okay, the best golfer without one has now finally won one. Who's left? And then, before we could even talk more about it, he wins a second one over across the pond. I talked about it a lot last week. I don't like watching the British Open because of the weather, and it just looks like everyone's having a miserable time, and it's so early in the morning.
I like Muirfield, St. Andrews.
Sure.
Except for a couple holes, wasn't wild about trying.
No, I'm not.
And they can't help the weather.
Sure, no.
That's the time of year.
That's right.
But I don't like a course that you hit one pretty good,
sure,
kind of down the middle,
sure,
and it finds trouble.
That's right. Yeah, trouble around every corner and right in front of you most times. But it was fun yesterday.
The greens
watching
are kind of skanky.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of it this weekend.
I wasn't either. It did not look fun.
It didn't.
It didn't look fun to be a fan.
No,
a patron.
No, there you go. Now Xander looks like he was having fun yesterday when he took the lead, had a 3-stroke lead, and then ended up winning it. So definitely a lot of credit to him. It's been fun watching him play golf these last couple months.
And another thing about the weather, in football or in baseball, if it's cold, well, both teams are playing in it.
Sure.
In football, if it's rainy or snowy or nasty, both teams are playing in it. Not the case at the Open Championship.
No.
But how you are with the draw. It cost Shane Lowry.
100%.
Saturday afternoon.
100%.
And I won't say unfair, because it usually evens out.
Sure.
But you could play at a certain time of the day, and you had no chance.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, heck, Thursday when we first started, it was like, man, look at all these guys that are 7 over. And then, a guy like Shane Lowry, something in the afternoon when it's kind of better weather, the rain had gotten out of there. He goes out there and shoots 4 or 5 under. And, so you're absolutely right. The weather can change very quickly over there.
My top story as well, champion golfer of the year, Xander Schauffele, the first X ever on the Claret Jug. Did you see the
Is that right?
The kind of the etcher on it?
That's right.
Working away. The first, last name, nothing. There had never been
Holy
an X.
cow.
Z, Roberto DiVincenzo,
Sure, yeah.
for one. Well, there's one initial left. Can you guess the initial not on it?
I have no idea.
Q.
Really?
Joaquin
I guess
Neiman,
that makes
our
makes
hope.
sense, yeah.
Joaquin Neiman maybe to go on there. We're counting on you. The tough luck runner-up forever in a lot of tournaments was Xander Schauffele, now winner of the PGA and the Open. Quite a trophy collection he has this year with the Wanamaker Trophy and the Jug. He easily won yesterday over a very, I'm being nice here, very mixed bag leaderboard. There were some names up there that I'll bet you the Poobah's a golfer going, we don't want him as our champion.
Yeah, you're right about that. I saw some of those names and I was like, I'm maybe diehard
And
golf
those
fans
conditions
knows these.
can produce. We talked about that last week. That weather could produce a rando.
Sure, and it almost did. We were very close.
Not top story of the day.
But low man wins, even if you are rando.
Exactly, and if you are and you win, hey,
get the job.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Big win for you. Now you won't be a no-name anymore because you won a major. My not top story of the day, and it really should be my top story of the day, but everything going on at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium today as Phase 2 of construction has officially started. They had a little
great day
kind of ceremony before for a lot of the media that were there and kind of showed how they were going to do it and different things. And then right after that, they got to work. And we were in here earlier during Dave Voloshin's show while he was on. Zach and I were standing over there watching it, and I was standing going, when are they going to do something?
Let's swinging that ball.
Well, I mean, we were hoping that they just laid a bunch of sticks of dynamite in there and just blew it all up.
Bring that hideous press box to the ground.
And then, 20 or 30 minutes later, I had gone into another room. I came back, and Zach's like, look up there in the corner. Look, they're tearing it down. And sure enough, they had gotten to work. So it's been a lot of fun to watch. But really, it feels like the start of something because we've had Phase 1, we've had other things, but it's things that you can't see just kind of on the outside. But now seeing them actually start to tear it down and the construction, it feels like it's actually happening, and it feels like the start of something great. And obviously it's going to take a while, and we're going to have to go through some weird things when the regular season rolls around.
It's part of it.
But it's part of it, and when that stadium's finally up, it's going to be beautiful.
And don't take any pictures and send them out, people, because everybody's going to associate that with the negative.
Yeah.
This is 2 steps back for 7,000 forward.
Bingo.
My not top story, AAC Media Days in Arlington at Lowe's, right by Globe Life Park, where the All-Star game was, where I was Friday night. Walked right by that Lowe's on Friday night, going to the Rangers-Orioles game. I'd have stayed if somebody had told me to. A lot of Memphis Tigers talk last week at SEC Media Days. I can never remember a year of going to SEC Media Days and that many people asking me, how real? Is it real? Or how good? They are good. The confirmation around college football circles, everybody knows that this year could be really special for Ryan Silverfield's Tigers.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's getting closer and closer. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to hear what Ryan Silverfield said tomorrow.
Yes, this year certainly could be the culmination of it, but it started in 2012, losing to Tennessee Martin with Justin Fuente, and it is built to here. It's Ryan right now, but it's been over the course of a lot of coaches, a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of players, and a lot of fan support.
Oh, absolutely. It's been a lot to build to this point, and it's been really, really fun to watch. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back, we'll talk some basketball. Grizzlies, they go tonight for a Summer League championship. Also, Team USA, they're in another close one, 62-59 in the third quarter. They lead Germany. We'll talk about this game. We'll also talk about the game over the weekend against South Sudan. We'll talk all of that next on Sports Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Building. They keep you moving.
I think a lot about golf, and when I think golf, I think Miramichi. Did you know Miramichi Golf Course offers membership? It's a great way to play more golf for less out of pocket. Their memberships run for $300 a month plus tax, and that includes unlimited rounds and range balls, no extra card fees, priority tee time booking, and discounts in the pro shop. Oh, by the way, there's no initiation fee. Miramichi green fees, they'll allow you to choose the right rate at the right time on the right day for your needs. If morning tee times are more important, you can book up to 14 days ahead of time to reserve your spot. If rate is more important to you, there are discounted evening rates available that you can choose from. You'll find the lowest rates on Tuesday through Thursday afternoons. Sometimes you just need to escape the hustle and bustle of life. Miramichi Golf Course provides just the right place to solve that need. The name Miramichi means place of happy retreat. When you need a quiet, peaceful round of golf, please make your way to Miramichi.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on a shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding and a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Granger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call CraigGranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for you get it done.
There are many real estate companies out there, but then there's Banyan Tree Realtors on the Titanville Town Square. There are hands-on, family-owned boutique real estate companies whose agents have been offering exceptional attention to their clients for over 40 years. In an ever-changing world, Banyan Tree continues to maintain a small-town personal charm while providing a worldwide connection through its internet marketing presence. Personal service will never go out of style at Banyan Tree Realtors. Their agents are people you can trust, offering service you deserve. From residential homes to commercial properties, farmland, land lots, and historical houses, Banyan Tree has the expertise you can rely on. So if you're downsizing, upsizing, moving in, or moving on, give Banyan Tree Realtors a call today. Craig Smith and Mary Jean Smith and their agents are ready to serve you. Call today at 901-620-8920 or 901-359-2520.
Wireless is made to totally keep up with you. We now have a little gear that never slows you down. Covered by the Verizon 5G network. And for less than $30 a month, we make your phone your ride or die. Now pick a free 5G phone with qualified plan purchase. And your voice line at no additional cost. Visit your local Total Wireless store today. Total Wireless, we're totally with you. Actual fees may vary by location. Prices at totalwireless.com.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square. Fun, friendly, exciting, and comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs for all your favorite games, 24 taps for all your favorite beers, including NA and local craft beers, and an in-front-of-the-wall pool bar for all your other favorite beverages, including a full wine list. Add in an upscale menu, patio seating, daily specials, and events, and you found all your sports in the one right place. The Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square, Highway 70.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus Suppliers. Here are your hosts, Brett Stack, Sports Movie, and Brian Davis.
Brett, I hope Team USA loses today. I'm just going to go out and say it. No intro back to the segment, nothing. I hope Team USA loses today. They're down 3 by Germany.
That makes them better?
Yes, explain yourself.
I think, and it's very different because these are professionals and supposedly the best of the best. But this whole weekend after the South Sudan game, I said, you know what? The only reason that game was so close is because they viewed South Sudan like we all viewed South Sudan. So when they got out there, they said, we don't need to warm up. We can just go out there and hang 40 on them and get out of here. And that didn't happen. And now against Germany, it's obviously not happening again. Down 4.
We've heard of Germany, though, haven't we?
Well, that's very true.
They only started 2 world wars.
Very, very true. I think they need a wake-up call, and I think losing to Germany in an exhibition game, almost getting beat by South Sudan, could be a wake-up call. If it's not, then we got bigger problems.
If you got to motivate this team with a wake-up call,
that's not good.
I'm scared of more things.
Yeah.
So far in this game, it looks like last year in the Philippines that Jaren took a lot of the blame for it. That Reeves for the Lakers took a lot of the blame for it.
Yeah.
The defense is atrocious.
Yeah.
Too much all-star game mode. Too many no-looks, too many lobs. I think overpassing. And the voice that Krzyzewski had that Steve Kerr can't have is Krzyzewski could go in and say, this is not the all-star game.
Right.
That would resonate with those millionaire players. I don't know that they listen to Kerr like that.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, and certainly when
I don't know that there's a college coach after Mike Krzyzewski that would have been perfect in this role. You know, Mark Few's on the bench, but he's not real demonstrative. And what's he won?
That's true.
Done a great job at Gonzaga, but for one shining moment,
you're right.
He's never been around.
That's right. I mean, that's the question is like when you have a guy like Coach K, who I think everybody in basketball has immense respect
You
for.
wanted to please him.
Sure. And he was around Team USA for such a long time. And so, I mean, even though he was a college coach, he knew the international game like the back of his hand. And so I think that brought a lot of respect to it. When
and
it came
he knew
to these
a lot
guys.
of those players through recruiting.
That's right. That's right. And so, yeah, I mean, it's interesting when you have to replace that. It's like, it's one of those tough positions to be in of like, who do you replace him with?
Anybody being cheated
Brett, what about Jay Wright?
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Especially
the only one I thought. I mean, the only
especially
one
in his role now.
Yeah,
he could really dedicate the time to it.
He definitely could. Yeah.
I don't know how much longer Mike Krzyzewski could have gone or would have gone, but the year-round basketball took something out of him.
Oh no, it absolutely did.
And you could even say it may have affected something at Duke.
Yeah.
Didn't hurt him either though.
No.
With having a lot of the practices there and things like that centered around Cameron.
Oh, yeah.
He could recruit around it.
Definitely.
Brett, one question I have about the USA, as far as the hierarchy of coaches. So we're saying that Kerr is not getting out of them. What about, Krzyzewski would have got out of them? What about second in command? Who's second in command on this team? Is it Ty Lue?
Or is it Mark Few?
Or is it Mark Few? Because my thing is, I don't think Jim Boeheim played that back then. I don't think Boeheim
Popovich.
and Pop. Yes, so
right.
the coaching tree was much better then.
Sure. I mean, it was an army of generals.
Yeah. I don't know who is second in command. I would
say Ty Lue. Because he's won a championship with LeBron.
Again,
I would say Ty Lue.
Maybe.
We don't win gold in Paris.
Yeah.
You might need to we got to fix USA basketball again before Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's not a long time to get things ready for it. I did see this. Our buddy Josh Crawford tweeted out, is Durant going to be able to play on Sunday? He's missed every exhibition game, and I'll be honest, like I'm a little worried about if he'll be able to go. And I think if you get Kevin Durant
and I don't know
out there,
the protocol of replacing a player at this late.
Yeah.
Or you just stuck a man down if he couldn't go in Paris.
Well, because that's the thing. I think you have to make that decision if you're Team USA, if you're Kevin Durant, of like, you're probably not going to be able to go. We can't risk that. We got to get somebody else.
And if I'm the Phoenix Suns, I don't want it risked.
I don't want that risked either. And so that's going to be a big question of will Kevin Durant be able to play? Because I do think this team's better if Kevin Durant's out there. But
the rest of the world long since had been catching up.
Sure.
But Philippines last summer, 4th place this year.
Yeah.
Everything's about the medal stand and the gold medal stand.
Certainly.
Not even standing on silver and bronze.
No. It's whenever you're Team USA in men's basketball, it's gold or bust.
Let's fast forward to that point. It was silver and bronze. Do you really want to rip LeBron James, though, over this?
No.
Over largely exhibition basketball?
I don't.
Do you want a searing indictment of, at the very worst, top 5 player in the history of the league?
No.
And at the very best, the best?
Right.
Do you want to drill him over Paris and a silver or bronze? I don't.
No, I don't either.
You don't drill him, but you do indict him. He's the flag bearer. Like, he's taking some of that burden on, saying, I want to be the man.
I don't like that word, indict.
Yeah.
Criticize.
Yeah.
Question.
He has to take a lot of it, Brett. He's taking the last shot. He's not on the bench clapping.
Yeah.
No. It's an interesting conversation. I don't know.
And are we letting Curry off the hook? He's a top 5 player too.
Well, when you got LeBron there, carrying the flag.
There you go.
The flag bearer.
Now, if they get things righted,
Sure.
when you get to Paris, wallop everybody,
Oh, yeah.
or at least beat everybody, and win gold, do we give them the praise for that? Or do we just say, well, best in the world, dream team?
I mean,
2024 is supposed to do that.
I think, like you said, I think
They can't win.
No, I think it just depends, because I think, like, if they go out there and, you know, beat everybody by 20, 30, 40 points, then sure, I think there's that
All right,
conversation.
do we have this standard for Xander Schauffele and Scotty Scheffler? Go to Paris and y'all better medal.
That's a good question.
Individual sport, I know.
Yeah, it's a little different. But maybe. I mean, I think.
And they're at the top of their sport,
Sure.
just like LeBron and Steph.
Yeah, I mean, I would say.
You know, where's the slings and arrows of criticism for them?
But like you just said in the last segment, it's about what time they play. You know, current conditions. They can't control it.
Yeah,
So
conditions are definitely important when it comes to golf. I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, the rest of the golfers probably be playing in it too.
That's true.
Maybe
Sure.
not like,
Yeah.
like Troon.
Yeah. Who knows? I don't know what Paris golf courses are like.
Well, they
this
played
time of year.
Ryder Cup there, and
That's true.
they dusted
yeah.
us.
Well, that's a
And
good
had
point.
the fairways about as wide as this table.
Yeah, that is a good point. I forgot about that. I don't know, man. I'm not liking watching this game in the background.
What's the score?
I don't know. Anthony Davis-
71-70.
Okay,
That's what I have.
They're gonna win this game.
They're down. They're
Right.
down one.
They're gonna win this game, but it's
a lot of
still not
time.
Great. Yeah, plenty of time. They'll win, but I just don't know by what margin.
What's an international rule you like that you'd like to see the NBA incorporate?
Oh, the goaltending easily.
Really?
It's the goaltending. It's the goaltending. Absolutely.
Just swatted everything.
Because instinctively they're at a disadvantage because they don't attack the ball the same way the
Sure.
international players do in the Olympic Games. If you notice when the ball is on the rim, they're just watching because that's instinctive. That's through AAU, elementary, high school. But
If
you
the
know,
ball's up there, go get it.
yeah, if the ball's up there,
Yeah.
go and get it.
Well, that's what I saw an example of that earlier. I mean, Daniel Theis, there was one of those where the ball's sitting on the rim and
He just
Anthony
scooped it
Davis,
off.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis was just sitting there watching it.
Yeah.
Theis is up there grabbing it and going back down. So yeah, that would maybe be one. I don't really know. I
don't know that I have an answer. I like Darius.
That's probably if I had an answer, that'd probably be it. But other than that, I'm
Certainly not the 5 fouls.
certainly not. I think they're fine at 6 where they are. You know, like in summer,
I
get 10
wouldn't mind
fouls.
5. I don't
Really?
mind that.
I don't mind. I mean, it'd just be like college.
And I don't
which
ever want
find
college going to 6.
No.
Play within the rules, and if you can't, there's a penalty.
Sure, absolutely.
And the whole NBA of I didn't pay to come see fill in the blank,
Right.
sitting over on the bench. Play within the rules without fouling.
Foul out, and you'll be able to.
They would have had so much pressure to them.
Oh yeah.
But that would be okay too. And right now in the NBA, you've got to really try to foul.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I mean, if you get 6 fouls in the NBA, I mean,
You're going for it.
There's probably good reason for you to sit on the bench the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Because they're not calling a ton. Grizzlies tonight going for a summer league championship against the Miami Heat. Brett, last time I talked to you, Zach Edey had gone down with a ankle injury in our second to last segment during What's Trending, and he is now out for
I
the
knew
rest of
you
summer
wouldn't
league.
joke about anything that serious.
No.
Almost ruined the night.
It did.
Now, it was the other ankle.
It was the other
as
ankle.
it all played out. Mm-hmm. But I go back to a week and a half ago. Shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen enough.
Oh yeah, and that's
Opening night's the next time I need to see him.
Yeah, and they made that decision very quickly after.
I don't need to see a late September game against somebody at FedEx Forum.
I don't either. I'm good. So he's out. Cam Spencer's also out with an ankle injury. They're both shut down for the remainder of summer league. Yesterday against the Clippers, a little bit of a scare. Clippers have a good summer league team. They're able to win it. Jalen Wells was awesome. He was 6 for 7 from 3, really lighting it up.
I've seen enough from him.
Yes.
Shut it down.
Which is interesting for him. You can definitely tell he's getting more comfortable early in the summer league. He was taking a lot of shots, missing a lot, but he was taking a ton, so he would end up getting 15, 16 points and, had good games. But seeing what I saw yesterday was extremely impressive. Just knocking down buckets. Gigi played well. Scottie Pippen Jr. got a triple-double.
There's a place on that roster for Scottie Pippen.
Definitely. I think he's shown that he can be a backup on this team. Has been really impressive throughout.
I don't know that you ever have depend on him minutes.
No. But I've heard some people say, like, you before injuries you had a role for Derrick Rose that was your sometimes second point guard off the bench, sometimes your third point guard off the bench, but you're going to get a couple minutes, and we're going to need you to do something while you're out there. And
supplemental minutes.
I think that's a great spot for Scottie Pippen Jr., and I think a role that he could probably thrive in. So no, I've had a really good time watching this summer league team, and tonight we'll see if they can go for the championship against a good Miami Heat summer league team. They've got Khalil Ware as their center.
If you play, might as well win.
Might as well.
Gone this far.
Yeah, I mean, I hear a lot of people, what are they really playing for? I mean, hey, go out there and win it.
But, in minor league baseball players really, especially old schoolers, we talk about coming up with certain guys, and, we won it in Double-A, and we got close and almost won it in Triple-A, and it really built something on the way up. I'm not saying that this does that, but if you're this far, might as well win it.
Yeah, I mean, I think all these players just have that competitive nature of, if I'm playing, I want to win, and if there's a goal on the line.
I don't know if we can ever point to a tangible moment in a few years and try to correlate success for the Grizzlies in May or June with back to summer of 24, but it can't be hurting.
No, it's definitely not hurting. Especially, I mean, I think especially when
unless you get hurt.
Sure, but I think especially when you look at a guy like Jalen Wells, who is a shooter and trying to get acclimated from the college three-point shooting line to the NBA three-point shooting line. You're right, it can only help. So it'll be fun tonight at 7 o'clock on ESPN. Grizzlies and Heat. We gotta get to a break, but last update before we get to a break: Germany, USA tied 75-75. Steph Curry going to the line for an and one, so hopefully USA is able to take a lead here. We'll keep you updated on what's going on in Team USA's final exhibition before everything gets kicked off in Paris. But let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk more about the British Open and Xander Schauffele's win. That's next on Sports Time.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Simple, smooth, and every sip is easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does your favorite mixers. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent out to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff, just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
It's the Gossett Mitsubishi Motors Summer Sales Event, and you will find a better bang for your buck. So get to Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike and get 43 MPG Highway and 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage, $17,980 or $299 a month. 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, $26,530 or $379 a month. 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, we Gossett, $26,530 or $379 a month. And get vacation ready in 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander, $29,900 or $399 a month. Plus peace of mind with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
500 military rebate, 500 loyalty, and 500 trade-in assist. Mirage, RHO 10843, MSRP 18480. Sport, RU1 11873, MSRP 28030. Outlander, RCO 63695, MSRP 314. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Summertime's finally here, and that means it's time to party. Lucky for you, Family Leisure is having a summertime to party sale. Now, what's all included in this party sale? Practically everything. 24-foot above ground pools for as little as $19.99. All ladders, filter systems, and even robotic cleaners are 20% off. Come in and look at all of the in-stock patio furniture $1,000 off. Patio umbrellas, take 20% off. You can get a 4-person hot tub for just under $3,000. We know you're really going to just use it for yourself. Family Leisure has discounted pricing on all in-stock pool toys and floats while the supplies last, so you better get in quick. Plus, Family Leisure has special financing available. Just ask an associate for all the details. Summertime means party time, and Family Leisure is ready for any party. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun all come together.
Hi, I'm Andy Meadows, Chief Editor of Radio Update. What is Radio Update, you ask? It's an online publication specific to radio that shares innovative ideas about how to move our industry forward. Check us out if you're in radio or interested in getting into an industry that's over 100 years old and stronger than ever. Broadcast radio is now the largest mass medium in the United States. If you're like me and you have a passion for radio, or you want to put the power of radio to work for your brand, log on to radioupdate.com.
Women here in Memphis are wearing bigger, better quality diamonds and some amazing designer rings thanks to the arrival of Genesis Diamonds. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine, and Genesis came on the scene here last year and shook up the jewelry world big time with rock-bottom prices on diamonds, a selection that's like 20 times ordinary stores, designer rings you can't find anywhere else, and guarantees and warranties that are the strongest in America. A relaxed, no-pressure, laid-back experience with no commission salespeople. Everybody here is loving what Genesis is doing. Whether you want a lab-grown diamond or a natural diamond, Genesis will easily beat anyone else's price. The owner is a former diamond wholesaler, and Genesis has cornered the market on the world's most acclaimed designer rings. They have all the top 10 designers in the bridal world, thousands of handcrafted rings made by the premier designers. For whatever special occasion you have coming up, don't go to the old-fashioned stores for the same old, same old. Discover the store that's raised the bar in quality, selection, and value. Prepare to be blown away. Genesis Diamonds on Poplar at Perkins Extended.
Are you ready to ride? Well, we got it covered at Gossett Kia on the bike. Get 41 MPG Highway and 2024 Kia Forte LXS. $199 a month, $37.99 to assign it. 2024 Kia Sportage, $279 a month, $34.99 to assign it. Or how about a 2024 Kia EV9 Lite with 0% APR available for 48 months? Or get 304 EPA estimated range for $389 a month, $49.99 to assigning. All 24-month lease. Plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Call Bobby J. He's ready to put you in your new Kia today. Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
650 acquisition fee, $20,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte RE794066, MSRP $21,820. Sportage R73,161.97, MSRP $28,865. EV9 R60, $29,603, MSRP $61,035. Includes all rebates and incentives and PF $695. Includes tax, title, license, registration, and fees. Must finance through Hyundai with approved credit valid through 7/31/24. Dealer stock only.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stack, Sportsworthy, and Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure studios. We got to talk about the British Open. A lot of fun over the weekend. Watching that action in
Did you get up early?
No.
Stay up late?
Yes. Yeah, but I didn't.
I enjoyed the
I watched
early
a couple
golf.
of groups. I didn't watch much of the early golf.
You didn't live tweet it early in the morning?
No, I think, let's see, Thursday I stayed up and watched like the first 4 groups tee off. And then Friday, I don't think I watched any. Saturday, I might have watched a little bit. And then Sunday morning, I watched the end of it. But I wasn't waking up like at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning to watch.
Player of the year,
golf.
Xander Schauffele or Scotty Scheffler?
It's a tough question.
All those tournaments, Scotty Scheffler's won.
Yeah.
But 2 majors. They only
2
play
majors.
4.
That's right. And he's won 50% of them.
You're in majors over.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy.
This is the point I start missing the PGA being in August.
Yeah, because it's crazy to even think about that. That was the last May. I was thinking about that, I think, Friday. And I was talking to John. I was like, you realize, like, this is the final major of the year, and we're in July, and it's just hard to believe.
Can you ever remember a major that he played in with this little discussion around Tiger Woods?
Wow. That's a...
it was like he wasn't there.
It really was.
But the time difference,
sure.
when he was on his play.
Right. Yeah, I think that first day he teed off at like 9:30, and then after that it was all middle of the night.
And it's horrible.
Question to you both: do you think he'll play the senior tour?
Not a shot.
Not a
I
shot.
think so.
Not one shot.
I think when he's done, he's done.
When he's done, he's done.
I
No
think
senior.
so.
The pro side, the positive side of him playing, I heard one of the announcers say, they showed like 2 10-year-old kids in the crowd. And they said, he's having a rough day. But those 2 10-year-olds will remember forever going and seeing the legend
for sure.
that he is.
And they won't remember what he shot or
So if he
anything
just
like
plays
that.
4 times next year,
sure,
the 4 majors, ceremonial, what's it hurting?
It's not hurting anything.
Now, how long will he want to do that with no prayer?
That's the big question. Is once he realizes it, well, I mean, I think he's already realized it, but once it's really sunk in, I'm just out here playing for 2 days and probably miserable and
Tipping the hat.
Yeah, and then
Thanks for the memories.
Like,
and they are some memories.
They sure are. But how long is he going to want to do that?
But it's over.
It's definitely over. And talk about the weather and everything going on over there. Some of those close-ups on him, he looked miserable.
And now, with the schedule the way it is, 3 of the 4 majors have the very real potential to have weather impact.
Yeah.
Augusta can be cold. Sure. Occasionally can be raw and wet.
Yep.
PGA now in May, if it's more in a northern next year in Charlotte, it shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be, but Charlotte
British
gets the
Open
rain.
always, and the one that won't was kind of the least advantageous for him when he was on top.
That's right. Yeah.
Winning a U.S. Open.
Yeah,
I know he did, and ran off and hid in 2000.
That's right.
In a golf Sandy Koufax perfect game.
Yeah.
At Pebble Beach.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a good question. I don't know, but you're right. I mean, I'll be honest. I watched him a little bit Thursday when he teed off about 9:15, 9:30 or so. But after that, I mean, it was very
just
much.
I know we were really busy and time difference and all that stuff last week, but it was just no conversation. Next year, the majors. Well, we know where the Masters will be.
Yep.
Then Quail Hollow in Charlotte for the PGA in May. U.S. Open at Oakmont. It'll be warm weather for that. And then British Open next year at Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland. That sounds cold right now. Pack the cashmere.
Sounds cold and rainy and not fun.
It doesn't. And that, again, that didn't look fun. And I don't mind links course. And I've said when the Open Championship is at St. Andrews, that's my second favorite major of the year.
St. Andrews is great.
But
I have no problem with St. Andrews.
It was just so many. I mean, you hit it in one particular spot and you're wrecked.
That's right. Yeah. And all that high grass and everything or whatever it is. I mean, it just doesn't look like a good time. Now, I did tell.
And the railroad track was too close.
Yeah, that was a little strange.
Like having. Well, we used to have a golf course by the railroad track over at Poplar and Perkins.
Well, I'll be honest. I told John earlier today the only good thing that I took away from the weekend was it would be nice to play on a golf course like that where there's not a lot of houses and stuff, because I always get a little nervous when I'm golfing on a course with all the houses. You don't want to hook it too far.
Bushes, that gorse.
Oh yeah, no, that is also not fun. So I guess pros and cons on both sides. But let's go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back to start our 4 o'clock hour, David Cobb from CBS Sports, he'll join us, talk some college football and college basketball. That's next on Sports Time.
Getting engaged is one of life's most spectacular occasions. And when you find your ring at Sissy's Log Cabin, the promise of a lifetime begins with our promise to always provide unmatched quality, superior service, and brilliant natural diamonds. Find your dream engagement ring, wedding bands, and more when you shop Sissy'sLogCabin.com or stop by one of our 6 locations. Begin the rest of your life brilliant. Only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Wireless is made to totally keep up with you. We now have a limited plan that never slows you down. Covered by the rise of 5G network. And for less than $30 a month, we make your phone your ride or die. Switch now and pick a free 5G phone with qualified plan purchase. And your voice line at no additional cost. Visit your local Total Wireless store today. Total Wireless, we're totally
When it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. And look at you, hands perfectly placed on the wheel. Not like the driver to the right of you who's really going after that drum solo. Save with DriveWise on the Allstate app and only pay a rate based on you.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the Little Red Tractor from Case IH, the Farmall, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. Well, Mid-South Ag can show you they aren't just for farms anymore. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, they can tackle every chore on your to-do list, from hauling and mowing to loading and towing and then some. Stop by Mid-South Ag Equipment or call 662-890-3141 to find a Case IH Farmall that's right for you.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Oh, yeah. Joining Brian and Brett now on Sportstime is National College Football writer for CBS Sports, Memphis native and Tennessee grad, who you can find on Twitter X at David W. Cobb. It's David Cobb.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios, and joining us now to talk some college football and college basketball from CBS Sports. David Cobb joins us now. David, thanks so much for joining us. Last week, SEC Media Days. This week, American Athletic Media Days, ACC Media Days, Big Ten Media Days. We're starting to get extremely busy. But what was your biggest takeaway last week to SEC Media Days?
Even how about this one? New sort of frontier with Kirby Smart coming out and saying that they are fining players through the collective for poor driving. So that was a new one. That one kind of stuck out to me a little bit. And then Jim Phillips today from the ACC, pretty forceful in his explanation of why he doesn't want athletes to become employees. So that was probably the most substantive on-the-record comments from a commissioner so far about one of the bigger issues.
Do you believe the chieftains of college football when they say that their feedback, the players don't want to be employees? Do you believe that?
Yes, but I don't think it's as unanimous as they want us to believe, because look around the landscape. I know it's not FBS, but you've got unionization at Dartmouth with the basketball team. And you've seen little things like that throughout the years. And if you're going to be a part of a union, then you're an employee. So there are pockets of places where they want to be employees, but I don't think that these commissioners and these the power brokers and the adults speak for all of the college students like they want to seem like they do.
Never did. Not even close.
Yeah, if you listen to Greg Sankey, it's like, oh well, no student athlete out there whatsoever wants to be considered an employee. But I don't believe that. By and large, though, yeah, I mean, I would probably think that most college athletes are probably fine with the way things are going, because it's never been better. It's never been better than it has been now, because you get, even if you're not a football player or a basketball player, you get cost of attendance, you get all sorts of stipends and nutrition and healthcare coverage now. It's never been better. But for some, being an employee might even take it to the next level. So I don't know. I don't think it's quite as unanimous as they like to pretend.
David, when will somebody, in the name of, look, they don't need it, when will some legislator or some a political party go, why are we giving Pell Grant money to these people when they can get so much more than general population student can get?
Well, it seems to me like part of the employee issue is that if you're an employee of the university, are you eligible for academic scholarships, or is the extent of your compensation literally just the payment agreement that you sign on to when you become an employee? I mean, there's just so much there that would have to be untangled, and yeah, it's kind of wild when you consider how much is invested in college sports and how much could be bolstered and built, and how much progress could be made in other areas of the university if all this money wasn't being directed towards athletics. And hey, maybe this is what it looks like in the future. Maybe the college football programs break off into their own employee structure, and then the rest of the programs sort of hang back and are part of the university. I think that might make it help make a little more financial sense, rather than these massive multi-million-dollar college football programs trying to pretend as though they belong within a university budget.
Unlike college football, that's not very dependent, if at all, on foreign international players. You make international players, you try to make them employees, then that would impact their visa student status. I don't know that they could come over here and play.
Yeah, that's interesting you bring that up, because I'm working on a piece right now about where all of the Olympic basketball players played college ball. And it's not just the U.S. guys that play college basketball in the U.S. There are 51 different colleges where players in the basketball side of the Olympics played college ball. And these are guys from Germany, Puerto Rico, Australia, South Sudan, Japan, Spain, you name it. So, and I don't think that college basketball coaches want to dry up that pipeline. And I think because you can now make money in college basketball, coming overseas to play in the American college system is going to continue to be more attractive, unless, as you're alluding to, Stats, they make it difficult or impossible to obtain the sort of visa status that you would need to come over and do that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up, because especially with college basketball, I've noticed it feels like, at least to me, that we're seeing a lot more international prospects committing to college places, especially the last month or so since the transfer portal has kind of dried up. It feels like, every team, I think I saw like Wichita State signed an international guy from like Iceland, and like it just feels like there are a lot more. I think Georgia signed a guy from like Serbia. It just feels like there are a lot more international prospects coming over. Do you sense that, or do you think it's just more this kind of new schedule we're on with college basketball? It just feels like we're getting more because you're seeing more of it on social media.
I need to dig in on the numbers a little bit, but it's an interesting theory that I'd like to run by some college coaches, because I was thinking about that today as I was assembling this list, and I think you're probably onto something, because in the past it was easier just to stay in Europe and develop within the system that they have in place there, where you're basically with a club team. It's kind of like they do with soccer in Europe. You're with the U16 for FC Barcelona or whatever it is, and you progress up through that system. And I don't know that you make a lot of money doing that. And now, I mean, if you are a mid-level European prospect and you're not a Victor Wembanyama or somebody of that caliber, let's take Johnny Furphy, for instance. He came over, and he's from Australia, but he played for Kansas last year, and I'm sure he got six figures to come over and play one season with Kansas, and then he ends up getting drafted, whereas in the past, maybe he just stays in that international pipeline and goes to the draft that way. But now, because you can get paid to come over and play college ball, that's going to be more and more attractive to some of those international prospects. I mean, it's a great place to mine some gems. If you're a college coach who knows that you can't go to Peach Jam and compete for the five-star prospects who are interested in Kentucky and Kansas and Duke, look at the way that Randy Bennett and Mark Few have built their rosters over the years out in the West Coast Conference. They've got as many Olympians as John Calipari does coming over these next few weeks, because they've been creative and they've been able to look overseas. And so if you can't quite compete with the Blue Bloods, but you've got at least some NIL, then maybe you go out and get some more of the international prospects. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if that's kind of one direction that the recruiting cycles go here in the future is more overseas talent.
Dusty May capitalized on it at FAU.
Glad Golden, yeah, he's the one that comes to mind. played in Russia. He was from Russia. I mean, that's way out there. If you can get a guy to come over and play college ball for you, and he's from Russia, I mean, that is really going to the ends of the earth to find talent.
Yeah, it definitely is interesting. Going back to SEC Media Days, I want to ask you a question that we kind of discussed last week. A lot of really good quarterbacks and intriguing quarterbacks in this conference. If you could only go and see one of these quarterbacks play this year in the SEC, who would it be?
Oh, I gotta see Nico.
That
Call
was
me
my
Homer.
pick. No, it was
Call
my
me
pick.
Homer.
And you know me. I mean,
well, think about it. It's because of how much rides on Nico's right arm for Tennessee. I mean, yes, Jackson Arnold is going to be extremely impactful for Oklahoma, and we want to know what he looks like. We saw him in the bowl game, but Oklahoma has other really good, talented players, and probably a better defense than Tennessee, with definitely more star power on that defense. Look at LSU, of course. Garrett Nussmeier. I'm really interested to see how he follows up Jaden Daniels, and he's a mysterious type as well. But nowhere in the country probably there's more ride on the quarterback that we don't even know a lot about than at Tennessee and with Nico.
But what we know we really like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Josh Heupel loves him. He was great in the bowl game against a great Iowa defense. So the optimism is through the roof, but it's a lot of pressure on the young man. So that's the quarterback I would love to go and see. I'd love to be on the practice field, seeing their scrimmages over these next few weeks as preseason practice gets going, because nobody's going to be more impactful and sway their team's victory total as much as Nico will this year.
I put the hex on them last year, so I'm not going to do that again to UT this year. But that's the team that I came away from thinking a whole lot more today than I did a week ago, and that was Tennessee. David, I cannot do this, so I'm going to ask you to do it. Make a case for somebody other than Memphis in the AAC. I can't.
Yeah, Tulane's the team that comes to mind. But it's a mysterious sort of vibe with them, because you lose Willie Fritz to Houston. You bring in Ty Thompson maybe at quarterback, who we never really saw a whole lot of during his time at Oregon, but he's that highly touted prospect. So it's a lot of transfers. It's a lot of putting it together on the fly. And they're interesting. I mean, John Summerall was an awesome coach at Troy. He did a great job with that program. More of a defensive type of mind, though, versus Willie Fritz's sort of high-powered offenses. So how does that one all come together? But, I mean, they're the team, and maybe UTSA, just because that's a program that's just been so steady. But, I mean, those two, I think they're right there with Memphis in the AAC. I mean, our conversation, obviously, over the last few months, with you guys, it's tended to gravitate more towards Memphis and being in that CFP conversation. But, let's not discount what Tulane can be and what UTSA has already shown to be as a program under Jeff Traylor.
And USF.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a sleeper, dark horse, super fun watch.
I think good at the top league.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's not as terrible. You lose SMU, and maybe around the country, people look at that and think, wow, the AAC's going to be just as bad in football as it is in basketball, right? But no,
I wasn't going to go there, but I will. I think it's a better football league.
I do too, Brett. I really think the AAC has some decent football programs. It has more. I think you're right.
The coaching is better.
Yeah, it's better at the top than it is in basketball for sure, because there's some good established coaches and programs at the top of the AAC that have identity, that have players returning. I mean, that's the big difference between the basketball and the football side in the AAC is you don't even know who's on these basketball teams right now. I mean, the entire league there was no more turnover anywhere else in college basketball in terms of outbound transfers than in the AAC. But you look at the football side of it, and of course, there are guys that get picked off and leave via the portal, but by and large, you've got some established programs there at the top that return a lot of really good players.
Now, I have not been to very many of these places in football or in basketball in the AAC, but just watching on TV, I would rather go to football at South Florida than I had basketball. Same for UTSA.
Yeah.
Same for Tulane.
Yeah.
What about Memphis? Would you rather? if you were a visiting fan, would you say, I'd rather go to the Liberty Bowl, or I'd rather go see a basketball game at FedEx Forum?
I think at the current Liberty Bowl from the years past, probably to FedEx Forum, but for competition, maybe to Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. I would much rather go to Dowdy Ficklin than I had the Minges.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure, yeah. I think East Carolina
sounds like something you're going to need a shot for after you leave
it
there.
Sounds scary is what it sounds like.
East Carolina is kind of one of those sleeping giants on the football side in the AAC. Like, they've been good in the past. There have been moments where that program has been dangerous, and it's kind of like, we look at Wichita State on the football or on the basketball side in the AAC, and are like, man, if they could ever get going, it would help the league a lot. And I kind of feel that way about ECU football, because we thought Mike Houston was going to be that guy who could really turn them around, and obviously they've struggled a little bit and haven't been quite as good as maybe they were back in the CUSA days. But that's a program that could have a little juice to it if they ever get it going.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up what you said about basketball and all the turnover, because Memphis's conference opponents was released last Thursday, I believe. And so we were talking about it, looking at who they're playing just at home, just away, home and home. And I was kind of talking about it, and I was like, I know what these teams did last year, but I have no idea who these teams are going to be this year. I know UAB brings back a couple nice pieces, but I use like USF as an example of nobody really knew what USF was going to be last year, and then they go out and win all those games in a row. They go on that long winning streak, but then this offseason they've pretty much lost everybody. Everybody bounces from there, and you have no idea what that team's going to be. So I think you're right. Like, basketball in the American is going to be absolutely complete unknown until ball actually goes in the air.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. And so, Memphis fans maybe get frustrated with the revolving door on the roster, and Nick Jourdain is maybe the only player you really know at this point.
Right.
But hey, that is everywhere in the AAC. That's even at programs that have had stability for quite some time. I mean, Tulane is one that comes to mind. Like, they had decent stability for a while under Ron Hunter, but I'm going through and doing my Duke roster outlook for a couple weeks from now for CBS, and one of their best players, Sion James, is going to be playing for Duke this year.
And Memphis really hoped they would get him.
Yeah, and there's story after story like that throughout the AAC. And hey, some of it's even intra-conference. When you think about Memphis going out and getting PJ Haggerty from Tulsa, that's kind of been it'd be a fun story if this trend continues. But a little bit of Penny Hardaway's MO at this point, because Kendrick Davis, same thing. Nick Jourdain, he was at, I believe, Temple, wasn't he?
That's right.
Yeah, so you're seeing some of that cannibalism even from within the league.
Were you surprised with kind of the ACC and Clemson and Florida State, not a retreat, but the FSU and Clemson's going nowhere for the time being? Did that surprise you? Because a lot of people assumed August would be the month of FSU saying we're out of here.
Yeah, and it was kind of the opposite. We get that Brett McMurphy report about a week ago, saying, essentially implying that they might not have a home, or they might not have
where to go.
Right. I kind of don't completely buy that. I think Florida State and Clemson are valuable enough and big enough brands that eventually a solution would be reached with either the Big Ten or the SEC, and that solution might look like a reduced revenue share of the media rights revenue if they were to enter one of those conferences. But yeah, it's interesting because there's always been this idea that FSU and Clemson, there would be a bidding war over them. That now it's kind of the opposite that we're seeing happen. It's wow, do we even have a buyer at all? And I think that's probably a little bit of a reality check for those two schools.
What if we've hit in college sports, big-time college football and college basketball, mostly the NCAA tournament, what if we've hit peak media rights?
That's a great and kind of a scary question, I'm sure. But you're never going to hit the peak, though, under this current, maybe under this current format you could reach the peak. But if that ever happens, you know what they'll do? That's when you'll see the Big Ten and the SEC then combine their brands or figure out a way to...
The Big 40.
Or even maybe figure out a way to combine their best 10 brands and send their their lower 6 or 8 brands packing and going to a second tier. I mean, that's, I know that sounds ridiculous, but just look at the direction and the trajectory and the path that we're on. And, a decade from now, I think that could be reality, where the best of the Big Ten and the best of the SEC break off and form their tier 1. And I know that's always kind of been something that has entertained Greg Sankey. He's talked in the past about reading the books and the literature on the European soccer model and promotion and relegation. And, and obviously in European soccer, you have, the Champions League and the sort of premier collection of brands that just draw absolutely insane TV viewership. And I think that's, ultimately an option. That's an option that could be out there down the line once the current TV contract expires.
With us, he made it. He was pretty emphatic and was all week making his rounds. For now, and the constant reference to our 16 or 16 teams, the signage there, we're now 16 teams. I think they're settled in for a while. And on the peak media rights front, I don't think ESPN is going to come up with that much more money. They might for a 9th game, but I don't think they are for 17 and 18 teams.
They already have Florida State and Clemson. Mm-hmm. They are part of the ACC package that ESPN owns the rights to. So if you're going to go to ESPN and say, hey, will you pay us even more money for something that you already have? that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me anyway. So, yeah, and then this idea that, what do they end up in the Big 12? Well, if you end up in the Big 12, then you're making less money than you were in the ACC. So that doesn't make any sense for Florida State and Clemson. So, they've got a real situation to consider here, because it may not quite work out like they'd hoped it would, and now they've been so abrasive and just hostile towards the ACC that it's hard to imagine a scenario where they come back and shake hands and say, "Oh well, we didn't mean any of that. Let's go back to being the conference that we were."
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people talking about SMU this year. Maybe they could be a dark horse in the ACC. What do you expect Rhett Lashley's team to look like? A good year last year in the American, but I think back to last season when we saw those 3 American teams make the jump from the AAC to the Big 12, and all 3 really struggled in their first year of Power 5 conference football. What do you think is in store for SMU making the jump to the ACC?
I believe SMU will have more success than any of the AAC to Big 12 teams did a year ago. And here's why. It's because the lower tier of the ACC gives you more easy wins than the lower tier of the Big 12. Even the worst team in the Big 12 is still capable of beating almost anyone else in that league. That's not so much the case in the ACC, where you've got Boston College and Syracuse, and Duke's going to be down after losing Mike Elko, and Virginia's still finding its way under Tony Elliott, and Wake Forest seems to have plateaued a little bit. And so there's an entire group of 6 or 7 teams in the ACC that are there for the taking for a team like SMU. So without knowing their schedule off the top of my head, I think they fit more neatly into the middle half of the ACC than the Cincinnatis and the BYUs of the world did with the Big 12 a year ago. And when you consider Cal and Stanford coming into the league, I think SMU is in a better position than either of those programs, certainly than Stanford, and I think probably even better than Cal. So I think that SMU does have a chance to come in and have a winning record in league play.
Have you written the broad outline, or have you narrowed it down to a column on your first college football playoff list?
Yeah, it'd be tough. It'd be tough right now because
you got to let that fly next month, though, don't you?
Well, we do our predictions.
Mm-hmm.
I need to kind of work on that a little bit. It's going to be fun though, going through and thinking of all the possibilities with who could make that playoff, and that's particularly intriguing, I think, in the Big Ten, the SEC, and the Big 12. It feels like it's either going to be Florida State and/or Clemson out of the ACC. But then you look at the SEC and you think, okay, probably Georgia and Texas going to get in. After that, though, you got some questions. And then you look at the Big Ten, okay, probably Ohio State and Michigan. But after that, though, you have some questions. And then the entire Big 12 is a question mark. And then obviously the Group of 5 bit. So I mean, there's 30 teams right now who you could realistically make the case for to make the 12-team playoff.
Who's the team on Selection Sunday left out that screams the loudest?
It wouldn't shock me at all if it's the number 2 team from the ACC. If you get an ACC championship game between
again.
Oh no.
Oh, I mean, it could be because you get an ACC championship game. Let's say it's between 10-2 Clemson and 10-2 Florida State.
Yeah.
The loser of that game gets left out. I mean, that's, and a 9-3 SEC team gets in that didn't have to play in the SEC championship game. Florida State or Clemson does have to play in the ACC championship game. They lose, and then they feel like they got punished for getting into their league title game. I could absolutely see that scenario.
Oh man, that would be rough for
Mike Norvell doesn't deserve that.
No,
No,
not at all. Huh. Well, it's definitely a busy week in college football with all of these media days going on right now and into the week. So, David, enjoy all of the talking from these coaches, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Okay, guys. Sounds good. Thanks.
Thank you, David. David Cobb with us every Monday from CBS Sports on all things college football and college basketball. Sometime next week, you think we may get Maui bracket?
Yeah, maybe next week or the week after. It feels like maybe before the start of August.
Do they give us tip times when they give us bracket, or is it bracket and then tip times?
I want to say it's bracket and then tip times, but I'm not 100% sure.
I'm going to say before August 1.
I would love that.
We might get
I would love to get that.
This week or sometimes next week. I know this. Everybody, let's head to All-Star Chevrolet and start the drive to the beach or to the lake, to the mountains, to anywhere, starting at All-Star, first exit into Mississippi on Highway 78. That's Kraft Goodman Road, and that's where they have all the pre-owned Silverados you can imagine, new and pre-owned Silverados. Some marked 12% off invoice. Add up the All-Star special discounts and look for Costco member deals. Yeah, Costco member deals at All-Star. It's one sweet buyer's market with financing as low as 1.9%. No payments for 90 days. That's getting close to next year on a bunch of new All-Star Chevys, and nothing beats road trips in a new Tahoe. Get an extra $500 bonus back instantly if you're a healthcare worker, a college grad, military, educator, first responder. No matter what pre-owned you're looking for, they have it at All-Star. 4Runners, Jeeps, Expedition, Navigator, all the trucks, all in Olive Branch, where you can drive every one of these vehicles I just talked about. Bring any vehicle you want to sell and get a big check today. Don't miss All-Star Chevy's special summer sale going on right now in Olive Branch. For more details, go to allstarautogroup.com.
Well, we need to get to a break. When we come back, it was a busy week of Major League Baseball as they return from All-Star break. Brett Norsworthy was at a Major League Baseball game over the weekend that we need to discuss. So let's get to a break. When we come back, we're talking a lot of baseball.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Country music singer-songwriter Kylie Morgan absolutely loves her Genesis diamond ring.
I got so many compliments as soon as I got the ring, and continue to get compliments on it. It looks really pretty on my finger.
Kylie's husband Jay heard folks in the music industry raving about Genesis, but he also did a lot of homework on his own.
When it came to finding the ring, he took it very seriously. He did all the research. I think he knows more about diamonds than any man in the entire world. And that's how he landed on Genesis. He just knew it.
Jay picked out a stunning, flawless, pear-shaped diamond in an elegant setting. Got the value price Genesis is known for. Tell everyone they really got the amazing Genesis experience.
When you walk into Genesis, you can just feel the happiness. You know that they're helping find something that symbolizes the love that you have for your partner, and you can feel that as soon as you walk through the door.
Genesis Diamonds at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Your skin is the largest organ of your body. Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
All 650 acquisition fee, $20,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte RE 794066, MSRP 21820, Telluride RG 543,666, MSRP 39835, EV9 R602 29603, MSRP 61035. Includes all rebates and incentives and PF 695. Includes tax, title, license, registration, and fees. Must finance through Hyundai with approved credit valid through 7/31/24. Dealer stock only.
I got Jeff Allen on the line, Gossett Kia, South Mount Moriah. Hey, dude, you ready to rock our world?
You better believe it, Randy. How about 41 MPG Highway in a 2024 Kia Forte LXS, $199 a month, $37.99 due at signing. 2024 Kia Telluride S, $379 per month, $39.99 due at signing. And 304 EPA estimated range for $389 a month in a 2024 Kia EV9 Lite. Or get 0% for 48 months, $49.99 due at signing, all 24-month leases.
Plus, every Gossett Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Or online, KiaMountMoriah.com.
Keep it twisted all year long with Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Twisted Tea is real iced tea that packs a punch with 5% alcohol. Tastes great at the beach, the mountains, or even in the backyard. Look for the bright yellow Twisted Tea flavors.
Responsibly.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. A couple of accidents now getting some attention out here. It's building pretty good at times through the Midtown area, southbound on 240 here at South Parkway. It's been slow go on and off for the last couple of hours out here in the construction zone, 55 northbound between McLemore and South Parkway. And we're still seeing some rain showers move through certain parts of Memphis, so be careful. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you on this Monday afternoon. And Brett, you were at a Major League Baseball game over the weekend. You were in Texas. You saw the Rangers and the Orioles Friday night. I've said it to you. I've said it to a lot of people. Globe Life is one ballpark that is definitely on my list of places to go to. So I wanted a full recap of it. I knew you were actually there twice. They had a party there during
Wednesday. Had the big tour
days.
Wednesday.
That's right. And then the actual game on Friday.
At the game on Friday, and had really good seats.
Mm-hmm.
And you could get some that are a long way from the action.
Sure.
But that's everywhere.
Yeah.
Price point for everybody. The hospitality. It screams Texas. It screams nice. It screams clean in that ballpark. Very efficient concession stands. You kind of do all the work.
Yeah.
When they hand you the stuff, but you do the paying, you do the, lathering up the hot dog and all that good stuff. Really nice. The tribute to Nolan Ryan. And Darren, Google exactly how many strikeouts he had in his career. I think 5,174. I think is the number. They have it listed. Every single name.
Holy cow.
That's like 1,700 people because a lot of them, he got a bunch.
Sure.
But they have every name of every person that was a victim of his strikeouts.
Did you say 57-114?
I said 5174.
Nope, 57-114.
Even more.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
That's crazy.
And he is their guy.
That's crazy.
And they're very proud of being defending champions last year.
Absolutely.
Now, for the staff there, and I saw a guy Friday night that I saw at the tour on Wednesday night. And at the tour on Wednesday night, I asked him, I said, are you almost dead? He said, getting close, because they had practice, everything, practice all weekend for Home Run Derby on Monday. So they worked Saturday, Sunday, Home Run Derby Monday, All-Star Game Tuesday. Not all of them were there for the SEC party, but a lot there Wednesday. Day off Thursday. 3-game homestand over the weekend, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week against the White Sox.
Jeez.
And one said, and he had the date. He said, I'm just trying to get to whatever date that was. Great ballpark. Texas Live is it's very much like around the Braves ballpark.
Sure. Yeah.
And I take no glee in saying this. It might be a smidge better than Ballpark Village.
Wow, really? Wow. I know
the layout and everything. Yeah.
I remember one of my really good buddies.
Very similar.
Sure. One of my best friends. So I have one best friend that lives down there. I have another best friend that was down there for the Cotton Bowl. And he spent a lot of time at Texas. He was like, dude, you got to come here. It's awesome. Like, we're having a good time. Like, and I was driving down there. I was like, well, I'm still 2 hours out of Dallas. I'm not going to come all the way out there. But he said it was great. And that was, a couple years ago. So.
52 years in between Rangers home games for me. 1972 at the original ballpark and Friday night.
Wow. That's quite a...
Never made it in between to the second one. And on the tour, and they will show you, it's almost a perfect straight line. The original ballpark, Arlington Stadium, no longer exists. And it was right by the interstate. Mm-hmm. And then they moved a little bit south to the ballpark at Arlington that now hosts UFL and soccer. Is that right?
Interesting.
MLS, is it soccer?
I didn't know that, but
then they moved a little more south for Globe Life.
Wow.
And a guy said on the tour, he said, in about 30 years we'll move a little more south when we outlive this stadium. And in the distance, it sets like I mean almost like a gigantic Independence Day airship.
Oh yeah,
Jerry's World.
AT&T Stadium. Yeah, I toured AT&T Stadium. It's probably been a while. It's been probably 7 or 8 years, but you could see the.
But you went to the Cotton Bowl, didn't you?
Oh, I did to go to the Cotton Bowl, but when I was touring AT&T Stadium, it was right when the Rangers won the year they were in the World Series. It was a couple years before that when they were getting good in the playoffs, that sort of thing. And there were a lot of people on that tour that were like, yeah, we're touring right now, we're hanging out, and then we're going to the game later tonight. And I was like, and you could see it out of one of the windows.
But what's coming to Dallas that's going to knock everybody over? What the Adelson family that bought the Mavericks from Cuban?
Oh, yeah.
Casino.
Oh, yeah.
They're building a town around where the Mavericks will play.
Wow.
And location not finalized, but if you were standing at the front door of American Airlines Center with the W Hotel across the street, it would be to the west of that in land. They think that's where it's going.
Interesting.
And it's going to be the Taj Mahal.
Yeah, I believe it.
With casinos and everything.
Yeah. Wow. So that'll be fun.
Even some conversation that Cuban's really just a figurehead, that he's not calling any basketball shots with the Mavericks anymore.
I could see that. That one's
just kind of face man.
Yeah, and that's fine. You also told me during the break you went to Buc-ee's. How many times have you been to Buc-ee's in your life?
Buc-ee's first time. The Buc-ee's at Leeds, Alabama, many times.
Okay, so not one of your first times at a Buc-ee's.
This Buc-ee's is almost too close to Dallas.
I don't know if that's the Buc-ee's I went to after the Cotton Bowl or not.
You want to go ahead and get to Dallas.
Right.
Coming back, you just got rolling good.
Right. I think that is probably the one we went to. We went to a Buc-ee's on the way back from the Cotton Bowl, and it was the first time I'd ever been to a Buc-ee's. Only time I've been to a Buc-ee's.
And I was telling
my mind.
Rob and I were talking about we're there at 8:40 on Saturday morning. You wouldn't believe the cars and the people inside.
Of course, yeah.
We affectionately call it the Walmart of gas stations.
I love that.
Because that's what it is. My family calls it the Walmart of gas stations.
I love that.
And volume matters.
Oh, yeah.
And they're rolling the volume through.
They certainly are.
And $10 won't get you much.
No. I didn't know what it was. Like, I had never heard of Buc-ee's when we went there. And we were like, what's this massive gas station? Like, let's just stop at it.
I didn't come to crush Buc-ee's, but I think it's a tad overrated.
Really? We're getting one, like,
I think so too,
close
but
it's
touristy. That's all it is. It's just very touristy.
Very
a lot of
so.
gas, the gas pumps get you. You see 50 gas pumps.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
Would that be oatmeal cake any different at Buc-ee's than it is at Love's?
Absolutely, by $12.
Well,
that's the only
price
difference.
Point, maybe. I think we're getting one close to here, right? Like, in the near to distant.
I think there's one. Yeah,
I like saving a nickel a gallon, but is it worth waiting in line over?
Probably not. Probably not. But yeah, I mean, Buc-ee's.
But I didn't come to crush.
No. We came to talk baseball. What do you think of the Cardinals over the weekend?
Can you believe $138 into this show before the first mention?
How about that?
Darian's got his Cardinal hat on.
That's right.
Love that. Braves are so beat up.
Oh, man. And it just gets worse.
That was probably the best series win of the year on the road against the Braves.
Yeah.
But that's not the real Braves, and they lost a lot of tread this weekend.
Sure did. And how about this? I just saw this. I've been
They
holding
won't hang
off
on to that first wild card spot.
No. I saw this maybe an hour ago, if that. But I wanted to save it until we got to this point. So Ozzie Albies obviously gets injured, literally awful. So they go out and pick up Whit Merrifield. Big pickup. Former All-Star. Great pickup. This just came out an hour ago from David O'Brien, who covers the Braves for The Athletic. And then I saw it from another reporter who is part of, looks like the radio broadcast. You might not believe it, but it's true. Whit Merrifield took a ball off the finger of his throwing hand while taking grounders an hour ago and is being evaluated now to make sure there's no bone damage. As Snicker said, managing to smile, can't make it up. This year is something else.
Yeah.
So
and they're still hanging in there.
Yeah.
But I don't think they can hang for long.
No, it doesn't feel like it tonight.
The East is over. Philadelphia's going to win the East.
Yeah, no. That one is that part of the puzzle is definitely over. But they've got the Reds tonight, and Ronaldo Lopez going. So maybe a shot here. That game might not get played. There's some weather in the area,
and it may not be St. Louis, but someone will catch Atlanta for that first wild card spot.
Yeah. It feels like it. Just with all of these injuries, have been
Here comes
really
Arizona a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, don't look now, but Arizona playing good ball over the weekend.
Run score differential. Does it matter to you? And the lopsided one for the Cardinals. 415 scored, 446 allowed.
Not really. I just care about wins and losses.
52 and 47.
Yeah, I just want to win games, whether it's a 1-0 win or an 11-1 win. I don't really care.
Counts the same.
Exactly. I just want them to win games. But it was not a fun weekend over in the AL East, AL West, where the Houston Astros came back, and actually Saturday night they were leading the AL West, and now tied after the Mariners were able to take one yesterday. All tied at the AL West, and Houston playing some really good ball right now.
I think Houston has the season advantage so far, and that weekend win for the Cardinals, if it matters on tiebreaker, the Cardinals will have it over the Braves.
Yeah,
but I have Houston as the third seed with the tiebreak right now.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And so, that's
everybody approaching 100 games played.
Yeah, which is also hard to believe.
So it's not at the break.
Right.
It's after the All-Star game.
After the All-Star break. But no, I mean, what Houston, had one of the worst first couple of months
really
of the
slow
year.
start, new manager.
And really struggled. And now it really feels like playing better ball and things are clicking.
No love lost between Rangers and Astros fans.
No, not at all.
A person there Friday, I said, typical Texas, scream Texas. Did hear this. Astro full regalia.
Always that guy.
And somebody said, not here, keep going. We don't need you here. I didn't know they had that in.
Wow, yeah. I mean, it gets dirty down there. But so that was fun. Actually, this was the shocker of the weekend. Seattle Mariners DFA'd Ty France, and which was a shocker to me. A guy that was just on the All-Star team 2 years ago, but was batting like $150.
Somebody takes him though, don't they, and try to get him fixed?
100%. I mean, that whole because I think you go into that saying we know what Ty France can do at the plate, and you look at that Seattle Mariners entire lineup, and nobody's hitting the ball, and so I think you can try to chalk that up to team just can't hit the ball. We'll take a stab at Ty France, and maybe he can come in, get some confidence, get some juice, and get back to what he was doing. So.
35 homers, 89 RBI already for Aaron Judge. But last night on Sunday Night Baseball, the home run for Shohei.
Oh, man.
It's still going.
Yeah. No, he crushed
NORAD picked that one up. If they can track Santa, they can track that one.
He's going to win MVP without pitching this year. Like, he's amazing.
Which brings up the question that I've seen a lot of people kind of bringing up is, once he can pitch again, do you pitch him or do you just say, look, man, you're
as long as he's
a
DHing,
monster.
yes, you pitch him.
Well, the trend was set by the Babe.
That's true.
He decided his pitching days were over.
That's very
100
true.
years ago.
Yeah. So maybe Shohei decides to do the same. It's interesting because obviously that's part of Shohei is he can do both at a high level.
The MVPs are pretty set.
It feels like it.
Judge in the AL,
Yeah.
Shohei in the NL.
Feels like it.
If Gunnar Henderson could have something to say.
Yeah, and you saw Gunnar Henderson.
Could go watch him play every night.
He's a fun
and
player.
Anthony Santander. And saw a lot of those guys come through here with Norfolk.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
as I said this year about Norfolk, the Orioles have it lined up. Okay, they don't all make it to Baltimore, but they can have them in deals.
No, absolutely. 100%.
And I think they need to add pitching at the deadline when the deadline's approaching.
Yeah, deadline's next big thing, and it's coming up here very quickly.
Did you see Jim Hayes' report last weekend about the Cardinals around the deadline? Typical.
I don't know.
All reports indicate that John Mozeliak and the front office think there's too many teams in contention, and the pool of potential deals is not really out there, and the Cardinals are going to sit still at deadline.
Yep, sounds about right. If you had said, Bryant, tell me what was said in that report.
That was it.
Without even looking, I would have said it would have said something like the Cardinals aren't going to do anything at the deadline.
Always sit still.
That is classic MO for the Cardinals. Classic MO for Mo. Don't do anything at the deadline. So we'll see some good games tonight. Should be a fun night.
Already
of
one in the
baseball.
books.
Already one in the books with the Yankees and Tampa Bay. Yankees get a big 9-1 lead. We've got 3 games starting at about 5:40. So here in an hour or so. So it
Biggest
should be a lot of
Cardinal
fun.
Pirate regular season in Pittsburgh series since. I don't have any clue.
Since a long time. That is a good point. So this should be a fun series to watch. As Pirates right there.
Crowd's great all weekend in Pittsburgh too.
Yeah, no, Pittsburgh, they're feeling the juice, so it's definitely fun to watch. But let's go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Buster's Butcher at 199 South Highland Street in Memphis. We're a full-service butcher shop offering a curated selection of quality meats, cheeses, prepared foods, and more. At Buster's, our skilled butchers are also experienced chefs. They'll be delighted to guide you on selecting, preparing, and cooking our fine selection of products. We're like nothing else you can find in Memphis. Learn more at bustersbutcher.com and come see why every cut counts at Buster's Butcher.
It's the biggest, the summer event in Gossip. Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram out on the pike. Yo, Rock and Ronnie, what you got going on?
I've got 2023 Jeep Renegade Latitude four-wheel drive, $26,095 or $388 a month.
That's a rockin' Jeep deal. What else you got, Ronnie?
Power up in a 2023 Dodge Charger SXT, $26,795 or $398 a month.
And Ronnie, I know you're into big business summer event. You gotta have an incredible Ram deal.
2024 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab four-wheel drive, $697 a month.
Rockin' Ronnie is rocking some deals today. So drive past the rest and come to the next at Gossip Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram out on the pike or shop online at gossipmotorcars.net. Renegade Triple P 57256 MSRP 31095 Charger PH 636170 MSRP 37215 Ram RN 203232 MSRP 588. Price includes all rebates and incentives and excludes PF 695. All exclude tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Dealer stock only.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. Picture it exploring across a fruited plain and also your new fire pit, which subsequently sets your gazebo ablaze. An even higher price estimate from your general contractor. It's a star-spangled bonus. It's also around-the-clock protection. Do one year home and auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Around here at Wrangler, we are all excited for spring. The longer days, the warmer nights. When you've got your pick of shorts and jeans, either works just fine. Blue skies, open roads. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
Big Daddy. Hello, Big Brown. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy?
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, my big number today comes from Major League Baseball, and it comes from a guy that we just got done talking about. My big number is 97. Shohei Ohtani has 120 hits and 30 home runs in his 97 games with the Dodgers. Ohtani is the first left-handed hitter to reach those marks within 100 career games for a team since Babe Ruth did so in his first 94 games as a
He's
Yankee
linked with him.
in 1920.
With Babe Ruth.
I mean, anything he does, you're in the same category as Babe Ruth and only Babe Ruth.
So how long before we start talking about him as being in the league with Barry Bonds and Hank Aaron, his greatest ever?
Yeah, that's a good question.
How much more has he got to fill out of the baseball card?
One ring.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think you got to do something in the postseason, just because you're doing absolutely nothing with the Angels. But I don't know if he has to do much. I don't even know if I would necessarily
Bonds
say
never won one.
That's what I was about to say. I don't know if I would necessarily
Hank
say
Aaron won one
a ring. But I think you definitely got to, at the very least, make a postseason, have a postseason, and kind of be there for
because
it.
how long can you blame kind of being stuck with the Angels?
Exactly. And he'll be able to do that with the Dodgers. But he's close to being in that conversation.
My big number is from golf, and it's 49. The next major Tiger Woods plays in will be after his 49th birthday. That's December 30th. And then the Masters next spring, we hope. If he plays in the Masters next year, he can't enjoy playing like this for long. Now, I talked about those through the eyes of those 10-year-old kids. That's great.
Sure.
But Tiger's not going to put up with shooting 82.
It only matters through the lens of Tiger Woods, and that it just looks painful.
49 when the peg goes in the ground next April.
It's crazy. It's hard to believe. I mean, we were just talking during the break about
what happened fast, didn't it?
Nolan Ryan getting old, and I mean Tiger Woods, same boat, getting old. I mean,
it happens.
And it's hard to believe
undefeated
when these people, when it happens to these people, when you kind of look up and you're like, wow, that guy can't do, or that player cannot do what they did in their prime.
And how long will he want to be ceremonial just to please the 10-year-olds?
I mean, I think
Charlie helps though. Having Charlie around helps the ceremonial part.
Sure.
I think so.
Because he gets to see it.
Definitely,
Yes.
definitely
To be there. Yes.
And I think soon, once Charlie gets college age, and I think that will end. If that is a factor, which I think it is. I think we see maybe a year or two more of this, and then probably done.
Enough.
I think 50 or 51.
It's
say you're
still
done.
a miracle he's alive.
Oh, absolutely.
A miracle he didn't lose a leg.
Yeah. But it's hard to watch these tournaments with him in it. And we said it earlier talking about Tiger Woods kind of just being MIA all weekend. I looked up Friday morning, John Daly at WD, and I was like, I didn't even know he was there. I mean,
JDWD.
It's
has to have the all-time record. For WDs.
I mean, it happens almost in any tournament he's in, which he WDs.
Really,
I mean,
how big a difference is it now than 25 years ago?
That's a good point. But I hadn't. I mean, it was like that. Just was super MIA.
And golf's the only sport you can even approach
That's
being
right.
ceremonial.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the team sports, it even happened to Tom Brady.
Sure.
It's over.
Yeah. And
Peyton.
Exactly. I mean,
Peyton Manning would have played till he was 90.
Right.
Except,
But,
physically, you can't do this anymore.
A team's
I
not
think
gonna do
Big
that.
Poppy was ceremonial in the DH role his last season.
And that was okay.
And that was okay. And that was okay.
So yeah, baseball. If you can hit the ball, I mean, if you can mash, I mean, I think like Salvador Perez is like almost kind of in that same getting in that role.
37.
He's getting up there, and I mean, really just a DH for
That
them
last
right
year
now.
for Pujols in St. Louis, it was
definitely ceremonial.
and productive.
For
Oh,
sure.
definitely
Well,
productive.
and completely.
But don't do it again. Don't risk it.
No. Well, and that was the conversation
Don't
we were
ruin it.
having before the season of, okay, this is going to be ceremonial. He's going to be your DH. How much can he produce? And then he shocked everybody because he came out and was super,
And LeBron doesn't look any different.
Well, yeah, and then LeBron's out there flag bearer for the Olympics and is about to play another season for the Lakers and is going to be the best player on the team. So I mean, it is weird watching.
Brett, you know who made me feel old this weekend? Todd Hilton going into the Hall.
Oh man,
Todd Hilton going into the Hall. Seeing him in that Colorado Rockies uniform, 17 years. I mean,
I think back to that night at the Rose Bowl Stadium, opening night, 1994, Tennessee and UCLA. Colquitt goes down, Helton goes down, and Keith Jackson. Here comes the freshman from New Orleans. You're going to hear a lot about him.
It's crazy.
Peyton Manning.
Wow. Holy cow. That's incredible. But that was fun over the weekend. Hall of Fame for Major League Baseball.
Enjoyed, and we saw every pitch of their careers.
Oh, yeah.
And two quarterbacks in there. Mauer.
I was thinking of Mauer.
Could have gone to FSU to play quarterback.
Wow.
And instead goes the baseball route.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Todd Helton was a good quarterback at UT.
Yeah.
But baseball was the sport.
Yeah. Well, and Zach and I were talking about this earlier today, just off air chatting. This is really, especially for me, this is the first group of Major League Baseball All-Stars where I'm like,
you saw every pitch.
Those were my guys, when I was a kid. And then the players eligible for 2025 ballot, even more. I mean, when I saw this morning.
That's what made you feel old, Darian?
Jim Leland, too. I mean, Jim Leland.
There's a lot every day.
Wow. Here's the group for the newcomers.
Walking.
Well,
the Olympic sport.
Yikes. Felix Hernandez, Ian Kinsler, Dustin Pedroia, CeCe Sabathia, and Ichiro Suzuki are the newcomers for the 2025
Are they old enough to be in the Hall of Fame?
I mean, I guess so.
Ichiro was old when he came.
Oh, yeah.
I made a special trip to St. Louis to see Ichiro, though.
Yeah, it's for good reason. Ichiro is awesome, and is still very much around the Mariners organization.
I've never smoked a cigarette in my life, but I love Jimmy Leland because he'd be burning them in the dugout.
That's right. They absolutely would be. But I mean, it's hard to believe that. I don't even believe that those guys are eligible for the Hall of Fame.
That happened fast.
Extremely fast. I mean, I was just watching, Dustin Pedroia yesterday. I mean, I
went to St. Louis one weekend and saw Moreau with the Twins and Mauer and said about
Justin Morneau.
And it said about them that I did about the Orioles. I could watch them every weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. So, no, that was a lot of fun yesterday, seeing all of that. And then this next group's going to be fun. But Major League Baseball, I mean, this season has been fun to watch with all the storylines.
I saw Todd Helton.
Watching more.
He was a late season call-up at the end of 97.
Yeah.
And I wasn't working for Ole Miss then, but I was covering the game, and I was going to Auburn the next day and went to Rockies Braves that Friday night in St. Louis and got a chance to interview him pregame and was going to run it the next week. And while I was interviewing him, I asked him to compare Peyton Manning to Heath Shuler.
Oh, wow.
He goes in on Heath Shuler.
Oh, wow.
And during it, on the mic, I had an on-off button. I turned off. I said, this is a microphone and I'm rolling. He said, keep rolling. I told him, he ripped
Holy
the what out of
cow.
Heath Shuler.
Wow.
And love Peyton. They're best.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that was one thing I kind of hated yesterday because you had all of the.
Well, like his dad, everybody thinks they're besties with Peyton.
Of course. I love that. But that was one thing I kind of hated about the Hall of Fame induction yesterday is they're having that, and we've got live baseball games going on at the same time.
Okay,
and so
yeah.
it's kind of weird for me because I wanted to watch the games that were going on, but I also wanted to watch
But you
Hall
want
of
the
Fame.
enshrinement too.
Yeah, so you're trying to kind of juggle everything. But it was definitely fun trying to watch all of it yesterday. But we need to go ahead and wrap up this second hour and get to a break. And when we come back, we got to talk some Tiger football. We'll hear Coach Ryan Silverfield tomorrow at AAC Media Days. But today, Jonah Dillon, he'll join us. He's the Tiger football beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal. We got to talk Media Days. We got to talk this upcoming season. We've also got to talk about the construction going on at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. We'll do all of that next on Sports Time.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Five Ash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Building.
Good afternoon, starting.
Keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting to get a little bit busier in the last few minutes on 40 East from Hollywood all the way over to White Station. It's just that time of the afternoon for it to get busy, and it is on 240 East from Mill Branch all the way out to 385. We've been in pretty good shape headed south of Memphis on 55 now. It's building down through there. You may have to dodge a few rain showers if you're headed west of Memphis down certain sections of I-40 in Arkansas. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Brian Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. And joining us now to talk some Tiger football, Jonah Dillon, the Tiger football beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal. He joins us now. It's a very busy time for Memphis football. You've got, obviously, the season coming up, media days. We hear the coaches speak tomorrow. It started today, but we'll hear from the coaches tomorrow. And then everything going on with the construction at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. I guess I'll start off with the actual team and with media days tomorrow. Is there anything that you're curious to hear about or hear what Ryan Silverfield has to say? Is there something that you want to hear Ryan Silverfield say tomorrow when he talks to the media?
Yeah, well, what I'm most interested in is, obviously, we're going to find out the preseason poll before Commissioner Tim Pernetti speaks and then before all the coaches speak.
Yeah.
So a lot of that will be reactions. I'm almost more interested to see how other coaches are kind of reacting on with Memphis in the off season, right? Because it's in a lot of ways been a kind of transformational time. You talk about the FedEx deal, obviously, which we know has been noticed not just around the conference but around the country. Ryan Silverfield's extension, a lot of the guys that are coming back. When you look at the conference, you look at who's coming back. Just in general, guys who were standout players last year, there's not a lot in terms of quarterbacks and players like that, because as we know, this conference is like the AAC. Guys have really good season. A lot of times they transfer to a power conference team. So we're looking at a lot of things that Memphis is doing that other schools aren't doing, and I'm interested to see how the other schools have reacted to that, and if it kind of gives them a chip on their shoulder. Like there used to be this, when SMU was in the conference, there was kind of a negativity towards them based on, they have all this money, we're kind of up against them. And now Memphis is the school that has the money in retrospect to these other teams, and so let's see how they're going to react to it.
Jonah, you cap it up pretty good there with the Tigers being the heavy favorite. There's never been a time coming out of a preseason vote of we're just waiting to see how big the margin is.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting because I feel like it's switched a lot. Like, kind of after the season, you looked at it, and even after what went on with Tulane, obviously with the coach and a quarterback leaving, it was kind of like, okay, they brought in John Summerall. He's somebody who's well respected, very successful at Troy, obviously, and that's a program that's had a lot of success over the past couple of years and has beat Memphis 2 years in a row, right? So like, it was kind of, you could pick either one, and then as the offseason went on, both what Memphis did NIL wise, and then what the Tigers did in the transfer portal, it kind of feels like Memphis is a runaway favorite. Obviously, we'll find out tomorrow morning what the poll looks like, but I would be very surprised if Memphis wasn't picked to finish number one. And like you said, it's almost like, is there anyone out there who is gonna put their first place vote and put it somewhere else, right? Like, I think you could probably make a case for Tulane, but it'd be a difficult one, especially with what's gone on in this offseason. And that means there's going to be a level of pressure for Memphis that we have not seen in the past couple of years. Memphis has picked to finish fourth the past couple of years, and you're talking about looking up at other teams, and now it's going to be everybody is looking up at you, and they want to meet the expectations that you've kind of set out for yourself.
Almost, this is what so many people around here have dreamed about, and now the Tigers right there. A long time ago, Jack Eaton, when he was the popular radio voice of Tiger football and Tiger basketball, he would often say late in the game at the Coliseum with the Tigers leading big, he would say, the only thing in doubt is the margin of the Tigers' victory. The only thing in doubt tomorrow morning is the margin by the vote they win it by. I asked this of Brian a couple of Fridays ago. After Seth Hennigan, who's the most important player on this team? Who's number 2?
It's a really good question. I think you can make a case for a lot of different places because it feels like Rock Taylor is going to be really important, right? Obviously, we know that Seth Hennigan, is who he is and has all those accolades. But Rock Taylor's resurgence last year was a huge story because going into last season, we had no idea who the number 1 receiver was going to be on this team, and now he enters this season as the top receiver in the conference, right? And somebody who's getting national recognition. I think for me, the answer is probably Chandler Martin. It seems obvious, right? He's probably Memphis' best player, at least Memphis' best player on the defensive side of the ball. But Chandler Martin is going to be the center of everything that this defense does. They've rebuilt this entire defense with a new defensive coordinator, Jordan Hankins, and Chandler Martin is the piece that he's built the whole defense around. So all these guys are coming in, and they know they're going to play off of him, and they're going to play off of his strengths. And the defense is the side of the ball. I think we'll be talking about this throughout the season. That's the place where the Tigers need to improve. And they know it. Even Ryan Thorfield has talked about it multiple times throughout the offseason. Like he said, if we're going to do what we're talking about doing this year and competing for a conference championship and going to the playoffs, the place that we need to improve is on defense because the offense has been consistently good. It was really good at the back end of last season, and all those pieces are back, and they're expected to be playing, not only at the top of the conference, but one of the best offenses in the country. Defensively, there were a lot of problems last year. There were a lot of gaps, and you got to plug those holes. And so you're talking about not only the guys at the center of the defense, but now, another thing we'll talk about is the helmet mic. Chandler Martin's probably going to be the guy wearing the helmet mic. And so that just gives him a whole another level of leadership and what he's going to be doing for that defense. And it feels like they're going to kind of go as far as he can take them.
Great point, Jonah, because we think about the helmet communication on the offensive side. It's going to matter just as much for defensive. Now, defensive players, it's hard for them to have numbers, statistics to really make a case for player of the year or most important player on the team. The offensive guys, especially with Seth Hennigan, you're going to know it with touchdowns. You're going to know it with completion percentage. So how would Chandler Martin, what would he have to do for at the end of the year and a great year to make a case, his defensive numbers were really better than Hennigan's? What's it got to be? Some scoop and scores, interceptions?
Yeah, that would help. Yeah, I think he had an interception last season. He said it was the first interception he has in his entire career at any level, including like Pee Wee football. So it was like, okay, maybe he'll get a couple more, get a couple more of those. No, I think it kind of goes back. It's like, first of all, tackling for him because Chandler Martin is one of those players who you notice him. You don't always notice guys on defense, right? Maybe the trenches who's occupying 2 offensive linemen every play. Right, you don't notice that, especially if you're just kind of watching the game casually. Chandler Martin is the kind of player you notice because he's flying everywhere all over the field. He's going to be likely will be the leading tackler. I know Elijah Herring will be in there too. So you'll see him make plays, but I think it goes back to that of like leadership wise. This team is bringing back a lot of players, but they're losing a lot of important pieces leadership wise, especially on defense. Because you look at last season, Jalen Allen, Jeff Kenton-Arku, Simeon Blair. Those are the guys who were the leaders on defense. Now, you might not look at those guys and say, this is the best player on the team. They were all pretty good, obviously. But now Chandler Martin is the guy who's going to, kind of step into that, somebody who needs to, be a key defensive leader in addition to all the things he has to do on the field. And so being able to get guys, on the same page all the time, again, the helmet mic gives you an opportunity to kind of do more stuff leadership-wise. I think it's going to be a lot of stuff we're going to see during the games that might not, on the stat sheet.
Yeah. Going back to media days, you mentioned it. We'll get the preseason poll before all the coaches speak, and I completely forgot about that because that was Biff Poggi last year when he got asked only 3 questions and then was already mad because they were picked last in the preseason poll and kind of went off on all the reporters there. But when you look at, you said it, we feel pretty good that Memphis will be number 1 in the preseason poll. You mentioned Tulane. Who are the teams that you feel like are going to be right there behind the Tigers?
Yeah, so it's kind of looking like, I would expect USF to be either 3 or 4, and then UTSA to be right there. It feels like those are going to be the top 4 teams, at least preseason. Those are going to be the picks. And I think USF is going to be kind of a trendy pick. Maybe someone will get a little spicy and pick them to win the conference, right? Because they're one of those teams, especially, you look at a ton of improvement from 2 years ago to last year with a new coach, right? You go from, I think, 1 win to being a bowl team. And you bring back a quarterback, Byron Brown, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the conference. And again, it's like you kind of got to look at it and say, wow, they had a quarterback who played well and who stayed. Yeah. It is a big deal. And we lose sight of it because Seth Hennigan is been so consistent for the Tigers. It's a huge deal that Seth Hennigan is still here. And so I think, those guys, those are kind of the four teams I would put above everybody else right now in terms of where they are. USF kind of jumping into that tier. Obviously, SMU was there last year before they left the conference. Behind that, I think you could make a case for all sorts of different teams. People think ECU is going to bounce back. You never know how is Army going to assimilate into this conference? Is Navy going to take another step? A lot of these teams could kind of bottom out. It looks like Temple is probably going to be picked last. I know people are really down on Charlotte. I don't think they're as bad as people think they are. But besides that, you've got a lot of teams in there who could go either way. UAB is one where it's what's going to happen? Trent Dilfer's coming in there. He's making a bunch of changes. You saw some things last year. They brought back their quarterback too. Shambolic defensive performances in some games, and then offense that looked like it was trending in the right direction. That feels like a team that they're either going to get really good or it's going to bottom out. There's a lot of teams like that, and it means that Memphis is probably going to be in some dicey games like they were last year, even if you look at a team's record and you say, this team isn't very good. I think there's a lot of interesting things that are kind of going on in that tier, even though, we're kind of grouping those teams together.
Well, that's a great point that you bring up, especially with USF, because I think a lot of people, and we've done it, where you kind of look at this schedule and you go, oh, man, Florida State's going to be tough. That next week against Navy could be tricky. And then a lot of people kind of skip the rest of the schedule and say, Tulane, last game of the season, is going to be tough. But that USF game right there, October 11th, a Friday night game on the road. I remember last year when USF was here in Memphis and gave the Tigers all sorts of troubles, and that one really came down to the wire. And you mentioned it, a lot of those games last year were games that came down to the wire. How tough will that game be against South Florida on the road on a Friday night?
Yeah, that's definitely one to circle. I think, obviously, we've talked about it before, and we'll continue throughout the season, assuming that these teams are as good as we think they're going to be, having to go on the road to play Tulane, USF, and UTSA, which, like I just said, those are the top three teams outside of Memphis in the conference. You got to go play them all, first of all, which most teams don't have to play all of those teams, and then you got to go play them all on the road. So it's not going to be easy in that sense. That's as difficult as you could make it with this conference schedule, 100%. It's going to be difficult. Yeah.
I'm sorry, John. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think that USF game, that's one where, again, we know what Tulane brings to the table. That's going to be a game that everybody has circled. It's on Thanksgiving Day. No one's going to miss it, right? We're going to talk about it a lot leading up to it, assuming that both those teams are high up in the standings. It's probably going to have conference title implications. The USF game, that's not a team that people necessarily associate with, oh my God, they've played really well recently, right? Some people watched them play Alabama last year. That was a weird game. That's what they're going to remember them by.
Yeah.
I guess they'll play Alabama at the beginning of this season, so maybe they'll have another thing to do. But I think that game is going to sneak up on some people, and it could be a really dangerous game.
They get Bama on the day of the dedication of Nick Saban Field.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, wow.
Holy cow. That'll be a lot of fun. That was something that kind of went under the radar last Friday about Nick Saban and his field. We've seen it kind of all day today, Jonah. The pictures, the videos, they've got a live cam going on over at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium as the stage 2 of the renovations has started. There were a few media members there earlier today as they were kind of starting it. How big is this? Because I feel like there's been a lot of talk about it, and obviously the fundraising and the announcement of the new stadium, and then phase 1 starts, and it was a lot of behind the scenes things. But now today we're actually seeing the construction going down. We're seeing them tearing down the stadium. How big is this for Memphis and the momentum going into the future?
Yeah, that's definitely the right question. And even for me, I feel like I've been in the weeds on this for a while. Really, since I got to Memphis, I've been following this story, and there's so many moving parts, and there's so many things that are kind of tangential to what the actual goal of this project is, right? And it kind of gets lost a lot. And even like I said myself, when I'm kind of writing about this, it is a big deal. The question is, and what's kind of been most striking, if you kind of look back on the last year, and obviously even more than that, is they've been trying to get this money and everything. Is the through line is we need to, is not just people from Memphis, but Memphis city officials in the Memphis City Council have said multiple times, we need to renovate the stadium so we can go to a different athletic conference. It's one thing for an athletic director to say that. It's one thing for a university president to say that. It's another thing for a sitting city councilman to say that while they're discussing how much money they should give the project. And I think that at one point, city councilman said we need to go to the ACC. So it's really interesting in that now you have most of this money secured. You're actually starting on this project. Like, it's going to happen, right? We saw the wrecking ball hitting the side of the stadium. And now you got to try to position, okay, we did it. We got this money. We're doing this. It's going to look like this in 2 years. Is that going to be enticing enough for another conference? Now, obviously, I'm sure you guys have been following what's going on with the ACC and what they've been saying today. Like, it doesn't seem like anything is happening in the immediate future. So you've got to kind of just push forward on the project and think like, okay, this is going to work out. It's going to help us. Now, it's not going to be a bad thing to have a better stadium, even if you're still in the AAC. It's not like, oh, the stadium, it's still needed renovations. But that's kind of the question that's going to hang over it is what's the end game going to be? And we might not know even in 2 years when the project starts to be finished, what it's going to look like and how important it's going to be in the, moving forward.
I know it doesn't help budget-wise, but I'm okay kind of with this operational pause in the ACC. FSU and Clemson doesn't feel like they're going anywhere with any immediacy. So fine, get the stadium ready, keep being really good in the AAC, punch that ticket this year with that non-Power 5, be that seeded team, and keep on rolling and get positioned perfectly when the stadium's completed and ribbon cuttings happen for the next round of expansion.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense. The other thing is you don't even know that would have mattered. Maybe you could have done all those things without the stadium, and the conferences would have wanted you anyways, right? Especially if Memphis is going to consistently, keep going football-wise where they've been the past couple of years. Because obviously we know that one of the things that held Memphis back for a long time in conference realignment was football. Doesn't seem like that's a problem anymore, given how they've performed the past couple of years, at least in terms of, consistency and going to bowl games and stuff like that. So you're never really going to know. I think that it's going to help a lot. It's going to help, obviously, like the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, once this is done, it's going to help for those teams and those fans that are coming, from Big 12 or SEC programs to see a stadium like that. And I think it's going to be a big deal. It's something that helps. It really does help with recruiting. Obviously, there's a lot of things that have helped with recruiting recently. It used to be a much bigger deal before there was NIL, right? It was like, look, you get to come play in this stadium. Now it's, the stadium, and here's a million other things that you need to think about when you're deciding what school to go to. Here's the collective, here's this guy, But I think it is going to be helpful once it's all done. It's going to be weird. Now we're going to enter into this thing this season and next season where the stadium is going to be, half capacity, maybe even less than that for some periods. So it's going to be weird to watch, and people are going to have to just kind of get used to it. And then in 2 years, they're going to say, obviously officials have been pretty clear it's going to be worth it, even though it's going to suck in the interim. But obviously that's the period we're going to see first. So I think that's something to obviously keep an eye on as the season gets underway.
Yeah. Talking to Jonah Dillon, he's the Tiger football beat writer for the Commercial Appeal. Jonah, I don't believe we've talked to you since Dr. Ed Scott was named the new athletic director for the University of Memphis. What do you think of that hire, and what did you make of his introductory press conference?
Well, it was it was an amazing press conference in terms of the reaction that he got, from media members, from other people who were around there, other officials with the university, just kind of people in the city, fans, everybody. I can't remember a press conference that people walked away from more being like, wow, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the line is always you don't win press conferences. And obviously, AD press conferences, nothing is accomplished there. But it was an interesting start. I think his openness in talking about a lot of those things, right, how he kind of just took conference realignment head on. He took revenue sharing head on in a way that a lot of ADs wouldn't at any point, let alone in their introductory press conference, right? Talking about we're going to opt into revenue sharing. That was pretty striking because a lot of schools have not touched that at all. And they're kind of saying we're going to just watch, especially for a group of 5 team. And we don't really know what revenue sharing is going to look like, even in a framework. We have a better idea with power programs, what at least it could look like in terms of a cap and things like that. We don't really know with group of 5 programs how it's going to end up shaking out. So that was definitely interesting. And I think, the conference realignment stuff, just laying it out there and saying, here are the potential conferences, here's where we are now. It's just interesting because it's something that obviously we talk about all the time. And it's kind of open, like, well, obviously the ACC is this and the Big 12 is this. But you never really hear officials say it in the way that he said it and just kind of just lay it out as if, we're just having a casual conversation. Yeah. No, I think it was, that's why I said it was so striking, but it was like, this is how people should do it. and
be aggressive. You got to
Yeah,
let
be
people know
aggressive,
what you
yeah.
want.
And so he's made it clear, like and again, that's a really interesting dynamic. Like I talked to Tim Pernetti, the AAC commissioner, and he was kind of similar. He's obviously a new commissioner. He's coming in, in the past couple of months too. And he said, we should talk about conference realignment.
Yeah.
We shouldn't shy away from it. And so now you have these two people who are obviously respectful of each other, and they both have, in a lot of ways, things that are going against each other in terms of, obviously Tim Pernetti wants Memphis to stay in the conference, but both of them are going to be very open about how this is all going to play out. And I think it's going to make for an interesting dynamic. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what Tim Pernetti says tomorrow at ASU Media Days, because based on how he's approached the job so far, I would expect him to be pretty honest about the state of that, the state of teams that are maybe looking at other conferences. And so that relationship is going to be huge, even though it's obviously new for both of them. It's going to be huge going forward.
What time will the vote be revealed?
8 a.m. is what I was told.
All right. Bright
And then
early in the
Pernetti
morning.
will talk right after that, so we'll be right in. I think Ryan Silverfield, I believe, is around 10:15, and they have all the coaches kind of back to back. So
I love it. Well, it should be a lot of fun tomorrow with AAC Media Days. Hear what the commissioner says and what Ryan Silverfield and those other coaches have to say. But Jonah, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do this again soon as we're getting really close to the football
And then our
season.
regular Mondays.
That's right.
yeah, 1 week, and then practice is starting, and then we're in it. So there we go.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Jonah.
Thanks, Jonah.
All right, thanks for having me.
You got it. Jonah Dillon with us from the Commercial Appeal on the Memphis Tiger football beat. And today is a really day of progress. To see those photos of old coming down, and we know that new and better is going to go up. Brian, I've said it a bunch about Danny White at Tennessee. I've said it about Keith Carter at Ole Miss, that both departments really have their stuff together.
Sure, yeah.
Same for the University of Memphis.
No, you're absolutely
This
right.
is good times.
Really good times. And like he said, I mean, I have not heard one person.
Ask your dad. There hadn't been a lot of years that you go into a vote being revealed, and it's just a matter of how big tomorrow morning.
Well, Brad, I mean, I was growing up through the years of you could count people in the stadium for football games. So yes, it is definitely looking much brighter. I love what he said about the commissioner, Pernetti, who's just come in, and he had the story where he interviewed him, and really seems like is just very open, wants people to be honest. And look, I think what he said was, look, we're all grown-ups. I mean, we can have discussion about this and not hurt feelings or anything. And so I love that. And, Ed Scott, I haven't heard one person say, bad hire or, let's wait and see how it plays out. It seems like it's a can't-miss home run hire. And so with adding this, with the stadium actually being able to see things happening to it, it feels like a great time, to follow this Memphis Tiger team.
I was looking at Navy really has the offensive coordinator with his last name is Chronic.
Is that right? How about that?
Of all places, I wouldn't think it'd be at the Naval Academy.
You wouldn't think it, but I guess here we are. Navy trying to implement more passing in their option
and
games.
The Tigers go to Navy the week after.
Yep. Right after Florida State, which isn't going to be the easiest thing.
Troy, Florida State,
that's tough.
Home against Troy, at FSU, at Navy. That is tough.
It's extremely tough. And then
Are you there with AAC football advantage over basketball?
Yeah.
Over men's basketball?
And especially like we were talking about with David, like just on face value, I can look at football and say, okay, transfer portal does stuff, but I can look at all the teams and say, I kind of know what I'm getting for football. Basketball, Brett, I'm trying to look at these teams right now in basketball, and I go, I have no idea. I have no idea who these teams are. I mean, so there's just so much unknown. Some of the coaches as well. So, no, I definitely think football it has the upper hand to basketball right now. And so it's going to be fun tomorrow. And the format's a little weird where it's, bright and early in the morning, commission's going to come out and talk, and then boom, 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 we're running through all the coaches the rest of the day. But it will be fun to watch it and,
that may be
see
better.
what coaches.
I don't know if you got to drag it out over 4 days.
I don't think you do, but we'll see. And at this time tomorrow, all the coaches will have spoken. We'll see what we thought about all of them going.
Everybody do it the way they see fit.
Exactly. So we'll definitely. It should be a lot of fun tomorrow. But let's go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about what's trending.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we
All 650 acquisition fee, $20,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte RE 794066, MSRP 21820, Telluride RG 543 666, MSRP 39835, EV9 R602 29603, MSRP 61035. Includes all rebates and incentives and PF 695. Includes tax, title, license, registration, and fees. Must finance through Hyundai with approved credit valid through 7/31/24. Dealer stock only.
I got Jeff Allen on the line, Gossett Kia, Southbound Mariah. Hey, dude, you ready to rock our world?
You better believe it, Randy. How about 41 MPG highway in a 2024 Kia Forte LXS, $199 a month, $37.99 due at signing. 2024 Kia Telluride S, $379 per month, $39.99 due at signing. And 304 EPA estimated range for $389 a month in a 2024 Kia EV9 Lite, or get 0% for 48 months, $49.99 due at signing, all 24-month lease.
Plus, every Gossett Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Or online, KiaMountMoriah.com.
You've got real work to do. Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done. Fast. We've got a huge variety of metals in stock, and we cut to size. Fast. Bottom line, we get it done fast, so you get it done fast. Doesn't get easier than that. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Find a store or buy online at metalsupermarkets.com.
Smoke is our sauce.
What is the Central Barbecue slogan? What are we playing?
Well, I just think that we don't emphasize often enough that even though Central Barbecue offers a variety of sauces at all of their many locations, Central Barbecue's barbecue doesn't even really need the sauce.
We should mention that more often. Central Barbecue doesn't take any shortcuts. The barbecue at Central Barbecue is slow-smoked Memphis style for 24 hours to make it so flavorful you really don't need sauce.
That was my point. Well, boy, do they have great sauces.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying I'm going to go sauce-free at Central Barbecue. I'm just saying I could.
Again, exactly my point. Look at my copy. It's the first thing I said. You just hijacked the commercial.
See how it feels?
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. For nearly 2 decades, we've installed some of the best roof systems across the Mid-South. To the tens of thousands of clients we've served, we are honored. So many of you call our team at Brian Elder Roofing your roofers. Our team is dedicated to serving you and keeping your family safe, dry, and mold-free. The recent hailstorms have caused massive damage, and many of these will go unnoticed for years, even though the golf ball-sized hail we just experienced in the Mid-South compromises even the best-built roof system. Whether we find damage or not, your photos are securely stored for future reference. Call Brian Elder Roofing today for a total evaluation of your entire roof system free. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. Call me at 901-867-0303. That's 901-867-0303. Or visit us online at brianelderroofing.com.
Things you can do for your employees or family's health. Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we've got a little bit less than 30 minutes in today's show, and got to talk a couple things during what's trending, but I want to start off with this. I saw this over the weekend, Brett, and I immediately thought of you. Oh man, first person that came to my mind. TBT going on right now, the basketball tournament, one of my favorite summer events. You get to see a bunch of old college guys, a lot of fun. Mass Street playing. Any guess of whose alumni team Mass Street is? I don't know why this
I can take a shot.
Okay, please.
Massachusetts.
You're wrong. That's a good guess, though. I mean,
that's
it's easy.
UMass.
It must be a street around this campus.
Give me a state.
Well, I can't because I'd give it away. It's University of Kansas. So they play, Mass Street's their name. Two of your guys on the court for Mass Street.
A Lawson, okay.
Which one?
Diedrich.
He
was good there.
He was good at Memphis.
And was the best Lawson.
Yeah. And also Another Lawson?
Chandler's there?
Was he ever at Kansas?
I was thinking Tarek Black. I don't know why I was thinking Tarek Black.
Was at Kansas.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
was.
Okay.
He's just not playing on their alumni team. Chandler Lawson is, who never played for Kansas, but that sometimes happens in TBT. Jeremiah Martin actually playing on Wichita State's TBT team Aftershock, which, little questionable. Another conference foe. But yes, I guess they needed another guy. Diedrich said, "Hey, my brother just got done playing college ball. He wants to play. Let's get him on the team." And so Saturday night, sat there and watched Diedrich and Chandler play some basketball. And Frank Mason.
Diedrich Lawson around his footwork and hands around, especially around the bucket. Mm-hmm. He was proficient. The best one, no doubt.
Oh yeah, and he was. I know this is not a super high professional game.
I did not watch it,
but he was playing. He played well. Ended up actually get this, Brett. Okay, so the basketball tournament is sponsored by Puma, and so they have a thing where you play, and then they have Elam ending. They were kind of the originator of Elam ending
to me.
So I forget the exact, but it's basically like under 2 minutes. The next stoppage under 2 minutes. They take the team that's leading and they add like 7 or 8 points to their. So if they have 75, it ends up going to 83 or something like that. And you play first team to get to that number wins. So like if you're up by 20 or 30 points, we're just playing until you get that many points. But there are a lot of times where it's a close game and you're playing, it gets to sudden death, next basket ends up winning it. And so they have this thing with the basketball tournament, because it's Elam ending, if you hit the shot, if you score the points to win the game, to get to the Elam ending score, and you're wearing Puma basketball shoes, you get $1,000 right there. You get $1,000.
I like that.
So Mass Street's playing. Diedrich Lawson gets fouled. He's going up to the line for 2 free throws. They only need 2 to win the game. He is not wearing Puma sneakers. Mass Street calls a timeout. They go over to the bench.
Lace them up.
Somebody on the bench takes off his Puma shoes, hands them to Diedrich.
He split the dough.
Diedrich, and he wins. I got to get something, I think, for sharing the shoes. So yeah,
was this
the
championship weekend of 3-on-3?
Different thing. Completely different.
Oh, it is?
Very different. TBT is just 5-on-5.
I got
basketball.
you. You can tell how much I watch.
3-on-3. There is a big 3 league that is 3-on-3 basketball.
And they have Elam ending.
They do have Elam ending, I believe.
Because I stopped on a game and the announcers were praising that should be more accepted around basketball.
Yeah, so that's on CBS.
That's when I turned
has the basketball, or no, CBS has Big 3.
Mm-hmm.
Fox this year just got TBT, so you can catch it. I mean, there are going to be games tonight on I don't think on Fox, but on FS1, on FS2.
I'll watch baseball.
I think that's probably a good idea, Brett. I'll try to be watching all of it if I can. But yeah, no, TBT's been fun.
It's what I said. Somebody asked me how much I've watched of the WNBA.
Yeah.
And I said not that much,
right.
Because tell me on a Saturday, tell me on a weeknight what I'm going to not watch that I have watched most of my sports consuming life to stop and watch that.
Right.
On the weekend, am I going to turn it off the tour? No. I'm going to turn it off baseball? No. And we're getting ready to get into preseason football?
That's right.
No.
I think Sunday was a special situation, though. Every 4 years, WNBA All-Stars versus the Olympians. That made me stop and watch it. I stopped and watched it because
it was special.
Yes. I think every 4 years that's what moves the needle for me.
That's a good one.
That's to see Taurasi actually against Caitlin Clark, to see Reese on the same team. There were multiple storylines there, but only, like I said, you're right, Brett. But every 4 years, I'm tuning in.
But I was there. My TV watching yesterday was up early, like I have forever, watching the British Open.
That's right.
And then baseball until bedtime.
Exactly, yeah. And that sounds like a lot of fun to me. That sounds like my type of Sunday. So, no, it's a lot of fun. And I mentioned it earlier. There are some good matchups.
But I'm not the target audience, and it is changing.
Oh, sure, for sure.
And I think you're blind if you don't see it.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely is. And,
Changing to the tune of $2.1 billion for the next TV contract.
Well, that's exactly right.
So much for rights fee peak there.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And speaking of TV deals, and we kind of assumed this was the way it was going to go, but it was announced earlier this afternoon when we started the show that TNT is going to match Amazon's deal with the NBA and try to get those games, which would not be as many games as they've had in recent years, but it would keep basketball on TNT.
Would it make sense to satisfy both of them?
I mean, I think it would make sense, but I think we're a little too deep in the game for that.
Does the inside the NBA team stay together?
Are we trying? Isn't that what we're trying to do at this point?
And
absolutely.
And that's why they're matching it, is because if you have games on TNT, whether it's you get a game a week or you get 2 games a week or whatever,
Barkley
you would
says
have
he's
TNT.
gone regardless.
Barkley says
the end's near.
He said, well, he said 1 more year and then he's done.
And he's never played the 1 more year and I'm done. He comes back 4 more.
No.
Many do that.
Oh, a lot do. And that kind of makes it tough for people who don't play that game.
The old boxer and everybody.
That's right. And the game's still being played by boxers, Brett. Don't get it twisted. Every boxer retires 3 times before they actually end up retiring.
And then what really sends them retirement is they have nothing left.
Well, yes, that is unfortunately true. But I think TNT ultimately will have games next year. I just don't know what kind of games.
Now, you're talking about for 24-25, we know we have.
That's right. Yes, I mean,
so the next contract,
the next one. I think they'll have games.
That will be some last show if it is the ending. Next spring and conference finals time.
No, that's right, and it's going to be
what a number that could drive. That's not the number you want for the last.
No.
For the last match.
Not at all. But yeah, it could draw a ton, and I mean that's been a show that has been for NBA. Has been at the top for
it's created NBA
years.
fans.
It absolutely has. I mean, those guys and the chemistry they have, and
Ernie holding it all together and sometimes not.
Well, yes, doing his best to hold everything together.
And it's not just those 4. They've actually built a great bench. That Tuesday night with Jamal Crawford,
and different
Ledflow. Yes,
different from Ernie.
Yes, different from Ernie. Letco. Lefko, I think that's his name.
Great bench.
Yes.
Well, and that's a good point because in the
Candace Parker's
been really good on it. During the playoffs, they would do regular game on TNT, alt broadcast on TBS, and it was that bench group with some of those former players in there. And a lot of times I would stick to that one because it would be like Jamal
Vince Carter.
Crawford.
You'd have Vince Carter
exactly.
there.
It was Vince Carter and
Absolutely.
Jamal Crawford on there just breaking down the game while it's happening. And I'm like, this is much better.
You could learn from
it. You can learn a ton.
It would sneak in a Grant Hill there. Yep.
Exactly. And so you're definitely right. They have some great guys on there.
For a long time on the way to the absolute top about Charles Barkley, there was always conversation about maybe him on Monday Night Football or him on game day. Can't you say that about Shaq? That Shaq could almost do anything, and you would be interested in listening to him?
Yeah, definitely.
He's the one that I think is the most irreplaceable. Besides
he's so
Ernie, he and Ernie, he and Ernie, you can't replace those 2.
And I
think you
he's
replace
such
Shaq.
a happy warrior. Shaq's not on there trying to bury anybody.
No. But also Shaq, no matter what they ask him to do, he's all for it. I mean, whether it's people wanting to pile on him or him taking jabs at other people or whatever.
Literal jabs.
He'll play whatever role you need him to play.
He can play.
It's great.
Legit analyst, and he can be the class clown.
That's right. And so it's really, really good stuff. And so I hope they get. I mean, fingers crossed. Now here's the thing, Brett, and you might not like this. The biggest part of Amazon's deal that TNT would take, the biggest part of it, well, not even that, but if TNT was to get it, we wouldn't have to worry about streaming because they would be on TNT. But the biggest part of Amazon's deal, and I don't know how if they would try to make something work where Amazon would keep this, is the in-season tournament. So
would nothing moves us like that?
Yeah.
In that moving Lakers ceremony last year, Darian.
That's right.
I know. Not a dry in the building, was it?
Not a dry. So I don't know how much Brett's going to want to be watching in-season tournament games on TNT.
A great friend
in-season tournament kin to the TBT.
That's right.
Great friend of the show and great college basketball source says Mass Ave is the main drag in Lawrence, Kansas.
I figured it was. I've
never been to Lawrence, Kansas.
They've been Mass Street or whatever their team name is for like 3 years or however long that I've been watching TBT.
I want to go to Fog Alley
and so
someday.
Oh man, that'd be great. So I figured it has something to do with a street in Lawrence, but their team's awesome. I mean, like I said, Ben McLemore's been injured, so he's not playing. Brandon Rush, Chandler Lawson, Dedrick Lawson, Frank Mason, LeGerald Vick, a lot of other guys. Those were just the names I wrote down that I wanted to watch play.
So this is 5 players.
5 players, 5v5. And then you got another one that happened over the weekend, the Big Three, which is just 3-on-3 that has a lot of former
We might have
playing.
to do if the Tigers had a team in that. What would be the
I think they did.
They've had them.
They've had
them
one
before. They didn't go this year.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Who's
of
our
former
guys?
Tigers playing.
I'll look it up.
Chris Crawford played. I don't know if Joe ever
Did
played.
we have 3 Kings or 4?
We had 4.
Okay.
There were 4 Kings. Nick King actually played on one of those teams, I think.
Team was called the Beale Street Boys.
That's right. Do you have a roster?
Loading right now.
Oh, yes. Will Coleman was a big part. I think he was like the one that got him together one of the years.
Did Tark didn't play, did he?
I don't think so. I don't remember. I can't remember much of the lineup. It was fun, though. It was a good team. And I can't find a roster. I might try to find one during the break and see if I can pull it from somewhere. But, yeah, they've had them before in the past. And I don't think ever super big runs in the TBT.
Did Arkansas ever have a team?
Arkansas has one right now.
They do?
They do.
Who's on it?
I don't remember the names on their team right now.
I think it's been proved that I don't know anything about this league.
You don't, and that's okay, Brett. That's
with
fine.
Darren.
That's completely fine. I don't know if I even wrote
Again,
down
I'm in a 50-year routine of summertime viewing.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Yes. But no, a lot of teams. I mean, you could name any team, and I would say there's a decent chance that they have a one, and a lot of former Tigers playing. Bama does not have one.
Tennessee
does not have one.
I was going to ask.
Maybe not a great.
Is Ernie and Bernie?
Well, maybe not a great shot then that every team has one. KO's playing. KO was on the roster. KO Dorici, who former Tiger, didn't do much once he got here.
Not much.
So I was shocked to see him. A lot of former Tigers playing, but just no Tiger team playing. But
Okay,
it's a lot of fun. Oh,
got
you
it.
have it. Let's go.
Beale
All right.
Street Boys.
All right, give me some names.
Full roster: AC Cleveland.
Okay.
Jeremiah Martin.
Jeremiah Martin. Yeah.
The Adonis Thomas.
Of course.
Alex Lomax.
Alex Lomax was on that team.
Marcus Crawford.
Okay.
Sean Taggart.
Yep.
Will Coleman.
Yep.
Ty Gordon.
Uh-huh.
And Marcanvius Hyman.
All right.
No Kelly Wise.
No Kelly Wise or Omar Sneed.
That's right.
No Austin Nichols.
No Austin Nichols, unfortunately. Yeah. No Shaq Goin either. So you gotta mention both of them together. I mean,
you did.
It says Willie Kemp. Willie Kemp was the coach. So yeah, Willie Kemp was the coach.
Willie Kemp over there. Well, let's go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back, we'll wrap up today's show with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
You've got a Pepto predicament, Beach Bum.
Hey, we're heading down to the beach. You coming?
Yeah, Dad. You coming?
I had a little too much to eat at the resort buffet. I need a minute. Oh, you overdid it. And now your beach vacation is giving you belly waves. Undo it with Pepto.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto Chewables provide fast 5 symptom relief so you can get back to making memories.
Let's go, Dad!
When you overdo it, undo it with Pepto. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
It's the Gossett Mitsubishi Motors Summer Sales Event, and you will find a better bang for your buck. So get to Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike and get 43 MPG Highway and 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage, $17,980 or $299 a month. 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, $26,530 or $379 a month. 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, we Gossett, $26,530 or $379 a month. And get vacation ready in 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander, $29,900 or $399 a month. Plus peace of mind with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
500 military rebate, 500 loyalty, and 500 trade-in assist. Mirage, RHO 10843, MSRP 18480. Sport, RU1 11873, MSRP 28030. Outlander, RCO 63695, MSRP 314. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
When you think about insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place: the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance Team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
David was in big trouble with the IRS. At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control. Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer. Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save. Get a Tax Lawyer went to work. Should have called way sooner. Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
800-908-3084. That's 800-908-3084.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's still a bit crowded over here at times with some volume, but it's moving on 240 as you work your way eastbound from Mill Branch all the way out to 385 Bill Morris Parkway. It's cranking up over here right on Schedule 40 East at Sycamore View Road, riding that traffic out all the way into Fayette County out through there. Some rain showers in our area. Please be careful. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store. Shop local, save a lot of money at Weimer's Jewelry. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, what I learned today is that Netflix announced 3 new series coming to the Untold series. The Untold series has been a series that's gone for the last couple of years where it's basically big sports stories that, might have a deeper background history, and they kind of do the documentary, go into it. This year, one of them really excites me. One I'm interested in. They're going to have one on the 2009 murder of Tennessee Titans quarterback Steve McNair, which will be interesting. But here's the big one that has just happened, and now we're going to get a documentary very quickly on it. Connor Stallions will star in a documentary about the sign-stealing scandal, and it will, this was the quote from Netflix. Told directly by viral villain Connor Stallions, who forever changed college football thanks to his role in the scandal. It's directed by a former Kansas football player who has helped direct documentaries for the 30 for 30 series on ESPN. So I'm really, really excited about this. We're getting that one on August 27th. So not long from now.
Will he name names? Will he tell other teams that ask him for advice how to do it?
Yeah, I maybe. I really don't know. I don't know how deep this will go. But I'm very excited for it.
Will it sully Jim Harbaugh?
That's another good question. I don't know. I mean, a lot of questions.
Harbaugh won't care.
No, he won't care. He's off to bigger and better things in the NFL.
What I learned, Scotty Scheffler, in my opinion, is still the PGA Tour Player of the Year. But if Xander wins gold in either in Memphis or BMW or Tour Championship or two of those, I think he probably should be. What a year for Scotty Scheffler.
What a year.
But X is gaining on him.
No, he sure is. And I think it's a good argument and conversation of, who's the best. You've got Scotty, who's won 6.
Might decide it at Southwind.
That would be incredible. That would be, I mean, just a perfect weekend for us. I could have done without another narrow win for Team USA this afternoon against Germany. They get the victory in a 92-88 performance, but it was not easy. We talked a lot about it while it was going on. It looked like there was going to be trouble, but they were able to win it. So now back-to-back games where Team USA has really struggled against teams that, double-digit favorites against.
That's what I could have done. That get out of all-star game mode and get into real play mode.
Well, and
maybe they will when they get
sure. And that was one of the things. I mean, watching it during the game,
they did win both of the games.
They did, but even today in the fourth quarter, it's a close game, and somebody was trying to throw a behind-the-back bounce pass to somebody.
Too many no
and
looks.
I was like, yeah, come on, let's get it right. Where are you beaming tonight?
Beam me to Pittsburgh.
Right.
PNC Park for Cardinals and Pirates. Big crowds all weekend for the Buccos. Will they draw on a Monday night in a series that really matters, real playoff implications?
Yeah. Brett, beam me, if there's a championship on the line somewhere, you got to beam me there. And tonight in Vegas, a championship trophy will be hoisted between the Grizzlies and Brett, this is what you dream of. I mean,
like the in-season tournament, kind of.
No banner, but they get a ring.
Well,
they do get rings.
Tomato, right? I mean, it's the same thing, but that should be fun. We've seen these young guys for the Grizzlies play really, really well over these last couple of weeks, and now tonight we'll see if they can complete it and win a ring.
Busy night in baseball. Phillies at Twins, Giants at the Dodgers, and we'll see if Shohei's homer is landed.
Yeah, we definitely will. It should be a fun night. Some really good baseball games on tonight. It should be a lot of fun to watch. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.
Buster's Butcher at 199 South Highland Street in Memphis. We're a full-service butcher shop offering a curated selection of quality meats, cheeses, prepared foods, and more. At Buster's, our skilled butchers are also experienced chefs. They'll be delighted to guide you on selecting, preparing,